Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting a show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun.
Wherever you go, you can listen to the news. You can swing with the blues on this wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Take a Portable radio.
Really?
Now, here comes the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and of course to all the ships at sea, good evening, it's the show. It's Q Talk America. This is a Tuesday night. Welcome to it. My God, the chat room is busy. Bitsy Lamone, my mom, Joe D is in there, Nero is there. They're already off and running. And Sean Clark, if you're out there, you told me you were going to listen tonight. Sean, if you're out there, a big hello to you. I think you're watching. If not, you'll see this on replay later. Hope your sister's doing well. You don't know Sean, doesn't matter. One of the team members at Stacy's, it's all right.
No, but we hope his sister's doing well.
We do. She had some surgery today. She's all good, but he thought maybe he might have to miss, but he's not. It's all good. We're gonna lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover tonight. By the way,
thoughts and prayers for everybody.
Yes.
they're shooting out of here like crazy. Fireworks even.
Right off the backside.
Programming note for those of you who may not recognize the young lady sitting in Kat's chair. That for listeners from yesteryear, viewers even. Well, actually, I don't recall. Had you already departed when we went video?
I think I did.
Okay. Because we went
But he's
video.
been back.
That was
He's
maybe
been
the
back.
reason I departed.
Okay.
because you said we
Well,
were
that's
going
why
to video.
Kent Dana left Channel 12. He's like, when the HD cameras are coming in, I'm out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
you've
like
been
it was
back
Katie
for-
at the new
I've been
studios.
back.
Yeah.
It was Katie was at there. Okay, so the studio when we were formerly at the old Pride office, complex, that studio is where we went video for the first time.
I think.
And
Yeah,
and,
it
and
sure
we
was.
Make it to the Pride buildings?
I had been there, but I don't know if I was a regular
You were
cast
not.
Still.
member at the time, but I had been there for the show.
got
Yeah.
it. All right.
I love that little setup.
It was
Yeah,
a wonderful little
That live
setup.
with the studio audience
But I'm
was
happy to
delightful.
be
That
here.
was-
Oh, it's
That
one
really
of my
was the
favorites.
window that separated the studios, the green room, if you will. No, it was great. It was just it cost money to lease a space, and I already had this room.
Takes me back to it.
But I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for showing up,
You,
buddy.
you
early.
might recognize me from my 3-episode arc on Law and Order: Criminal Intent.
Oh, that might be it.
As man who leaves baby in hot car.
Oh, okay. Did
I
you
went
have to
Meisner
study a lot for that role,
I
or was
went
that?
Meisner for that.
Or were you the guy walking in the background? Past
Let's
the hot
not
car.
split hairs, Marnie.
Well, I mean, I'm just
I
asking
played
a
the
question.
corpse in
'Cause
two
you look
different
familiar.
episodes. Because that's the range of acting I
I can
do.
see that.
Lay on your back.
Yeah.
It was. No,
Yeah,
But
that's a
really-
different movie.
really, totally different. Really great acting.
And there'll be no
though.
follow-up questions. Just
Really
remember that.
great
No
acting
follow-up
because he
questions.
had to keep his mouth shut during that whole time. So that's Oscar worthy right there.
Yeah.
And he's a white guy, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Or a white girl. Well, it wouldn't make sense
Well, it
being a
doesn't
girl.
matter.
You're not going to get nominated
Yeah,
for
I'm
much.
surprised Jonathan Pryce didn't find a way to be nominated for Best
From
Actress.
everything you're saying. That's what I'm
A
getting.
gentle story of an Argentinian who grew up to be an old white guy.
So finishing up, Buddy Early is joining us tonight. Kat Carlson had a meeting or a dinner or something she had to go to.
Intervention.
She described
Buddy
it as awkward.
filled in, but she may be showing up a little bit later. She said, depending on when she was released from the confines of the
house.
meeting. Yes. So anyway, so she will probably be here.
I have
in a little
so
while.
many questions now that you've described that.
Which part?
Oh.
About
Kat
her
Carlson's
awkward
meeting?
and when she's released, like she's unshackled.
No.
Yeah,
I
I think it's
It
their
could
bar
be.
dinner.
I think it was the bar dinner.
So it all makes sense.
Yeah. So it's because a lot of
like any
bars.
family dinner.
Well, I'm sorry, but if I'm Kat and I'm going to dinner with all the people at Cobalt, I'm not coming here tonight. I would.
You brought a lovely dish, which normally when you were at the show, every week you brought. Oftentimes it was Taco Bell, though.
Yes.
It
yes.
was.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Or Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
It was a full meal,
Well,
though.
yeah, because there was a Carl's Jr. right
was
around the
right
corner
there.
from
Yeah.
the original.
That's true.
location.
Right there, 24th and
That's
Thomas.
right.
Uh-huh.
Good point.
My gosh.
Back when I used to get exercise with this, because that was a long
we used
fucking
to
haul.
we rode our bikes a lot. It was a
Girl
good
was
time.
hungry.
It was a lot
It
of
was right
fun.
around the corner from my house.
Right.
My fat ass still took a ride there. Got a ride.
And
Yeah.
or was late. Still.
Duh.
I like the or part.
And slash or.
And or right.
yeah.
You never know.
Usually it was and. Whatever.
Oh my gosh. Well, anywho, here we are. Welcome one and all. There's a lot going on in the world tonight. We got debates going on. There's new investigative leads going on with the all of the what do they call it? I think the impeachment.
The moron
shit.
review.
There's all this stuff going on, and here we are celebrating all of us and you in the chat room and around the world.
A slight
here
diversion.
Yeah, just a slight diversion. And we've been happy to have been one for as long as we've been one. Well, we're still diverted, I think, really. Oh, by the way, I'm going to have a sip of my beverage, I think. Buddy, we usually start out the show going around the table and finding out what you've been up to. However, I'd like to state, we don't need to know what you've been doing for like the past 6 years.
Oh, okay.
So just, hey, what's new with Buddy? What's of late?
You know,
What do you do for a living?
same old
Now.
shit.
But you just changed jobs, though,
No,
didn't
well,
you?
I'm
Or
still
changed
with the same
companies?
company.
Oh, okay.
I've been working at State Farm for 2.5 years.
Did not know.
Yeah, in auto claims.
Yeah.
So I just moved over to the injury segment, and so I'm still kind of doing some training there. And
Okay.
that's exciting.
Now, I know I don't know if this is tongue in cheek or not, because before you were an editor and you did a lot of that, and you were, I think you were a little over that. Are you still critiquing punctuation?
No, well,
Are you still going?
I actually still do some freelance work.
Okay.
As a writer and editor, I actually got contacted today by someone who needs me to do some proofreading for him for an Amazon ebook that he's working on. But I actually am, for the last few years, I've actually been the final proofer for Echo.
Oh, okay.
So, last Thursday, for example, I go once a month. Obviously, Echo's now monthly.
It's a monthly magazine, I understand.
That is correct. So I pick up the book. I still insist on the hard copy. I go to Copper Star Coffee and spend my hours there with a red pen and a highlighter and Post-it notes, and I proof it for grammar, but for AP style, a lot of it is really what I'm doing because sometimes there'll just be a typo, errant comma, or something that needs a comma. But yeah, it's fun. It doesn't sound fun to a lot of people, but I love that kind of stuff. I love just proofing, not because I love critiquing.
I was going to say because you're a bitch. Is this why?
Oh, you like to critique things, buddy.
No, and that's not why. It's there's something about because when I did it full time,
make it right, make it tight, buddy.
When I did it full time, I would always replenish my Associated Press style book every year or every 2 years. And I would literally read it from beginning to end. What's changed? What's new? Remind myself of what journalistic style is and that kind of thing. And so that gives me joy. If you're a nurse and you're putting in an IV, you might get joy from that.
No,
whereas
I get more
most
joy out of what you're
don't.
talking about.
Okay.
But I get it.
But he makes more money
And
doing
actually,
what you're talking about.
Erin would feel the same way. She loves
Yeah,
that kind of
right?
stuff. Like you guys are really on the same page with that.
It's
Satisfying.
Super
satisfying.
Any kind of writing and editing, going over documents, putting words on paper, is just kind of what I really enjoy.
I like to like go through and read something that someone's written and kind of like jazz it up.
Sure.
But then I really like it if I've written something, if someone could take an eye on it and like, what polish does it need? Because you always need a fresh set of eyes, or like what that sentence doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah, Erin, like we'll find how all the memes that are out there and everything else, and you find something that's like just sweet or cute to send and whatever, and I know not to send something if there's a comma in the wrong place, or if someone using far too many apostrophes, or
Or with
all
me
of those
commas.
things. Right.
Oh.
I'm a comma queen.
I'm a big fan
I'm a
of a
comma
run-on
queen.
sentence just helped up by a comma.
Anyway, buddy, I remember when you were with us before that you had. Do you remember when you left your one job and there were Nutter Butters? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
when
I
you
recall
talked
that.
about that. You had Nutter Butters in your drawer, and you were really pissed because no one gave you the
Really?
Nutter Butters out of your drawer. I totally
recall
remember
that.
that.
Was that discussed in our first meeting, or was that while we were already on the
When
air?
we were on the
Why
air.
Okay.
did somebody steal my?
But just in case, I thought you should
my
have some
God.
Nutter Butters.
Oh, and I do love me some Nutter Butters.
I know, and I'll have some with you. Just,
Buddy, could you
cousin.
hold those up to that camera, and so people see there's this Nutter Butter.
You gotta have the Nutter Butters.
Now,
That
all
is
food in
funny.
this studio is shareable, buddy.
It
I'm
is.
just letting you know.
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, and I was so excited that Buddy was going to be here.
Oh, who
I
is
know.
it? Who is it?
Do you have something else? Are they bugles? I knew
Where do you
I was
find
like,
them?
Where are the bugles?
She's the
Wow.
bugle whisperer.
And
Oh my God, what's next?
and just in case,
Oh,
Is
shit.
it my Aunt Becky? Oh,
you
Caramel
were a
candy
you were
corn.
a candy corn kind of guy. Am I wrong?
yeah.
She found candy corn in
I'm
January.
wrong. I thought you loved
She
these.
bought it in
No.
October.
You
But
hate them.
We've had a
'Cause
conversation about them
Yes,
before.
we have. Because I hate
And
them.
I do not like them.
Ah,
Somebody
shit.
in this room maybe did.
I'm not
Lauren.
opposed to
But
candy corn.
we did
It
have
was
the
that- was that
conversation
us?
on this show about candy corn.
Yeah, we had
So
some
you
we
thought
both
you
did.
liked them, and that's why I'm like, okay.
And it was probably led by me about the filthiness of candy corn.
It could have been. 'Cause I was
absolute
like,
filthiness.
All right, I'm going to get these, but it goes against
my
everything
gosh.
in my religion. That,
All
you
right,
know.
I need to know who's an aunt.
Anant,
Anant.
or
Anant?
Anant. I don't think we've ever decided how you pronounce that without the New York accent. Friend from India, from the
Oh, right on.
Way around the world.
Global.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a local listener.
He's a local
listener, yeah.
listener. That's right. And that Bootsy Lamone, you know that one.
I know her work.
Yeah.
I know I'm familiar with her work.
And Joe D.
Joe
I think
D,
you've
right,
I
met.
drive by
Yeah.
that
I
corner
know
all the
Mama
time
Di.
too.
And
Mom, yeah.
Nero is in. Look at me. I want to say Finland, but I'm hoping I have that,
was
right.
that was my guess too.
But I think that Nero then moved.
Amsterdam.
And Nero, help me out with that
Yes,
because I
Nero.
feel like you were definitely Finland. I feel very strongly about that. But that then you moved, and I don't remember if you went to somewhere other than Finland.
I like she was thinking about a
I
direction.
really was going to go with the direction, but I want to make sure of that because I just know that you're not right around the corner. And Mama Di, I think you've met Mama Di before.
A few times.
Give her take.
She
give her
gets
take.
around. She's a very busy woman.
She
She's
is
got
that.
some stories.
Well,
And who else do we
had
have?
her
She-
out. We had
Finland
her.
is correct.
Finland for the win.
Oh my gosh! There we go. Ring them bells.
Oh God, I just tied myself up. I just had a
and I
bell-related
believe Nero
tragedy.
just got a new job. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. There's all kinds of the things.
All
Got a
sorts
very
of
smart
things.
haircut. There was very, very, very many things going on. Menti things.
Minty things. Yeah.
So anyway, digress. The end.
And Marina.
Nothing. I don't think. Nothing. Just
She hates old people. I
I
heard
hate
that.
old
I found
people.
that out
God, I
earlier
fucking
today.
hate old people. Make up your goddamn mind is all I have to say about
Wow.
it. I'm not looking
About
at you with
getting
that.
old?
Not looking at you.
Yeah,
with
about getting old.
that. No.
Are you gonna get old or just die? Pick a lane.
No, just something. Like make up your goddamn mind. And when it's old women, Jesus, estrogen and kills me. Fuck. And I mean that with all the love in the world.
I'm going to give you a little advice, Marnie, right now. Now, as you are engaged to another woman,
Yeah. Oh,
And-
she's
One of
already
you is
there.
gonna become an old woman.
10 years younger, and she's already
At
there.
least.
But God
you,
love you, honey. I
you
love you.
progressively
Feel
are
better.
going to get older. I assume this is how this works.
Oh, I think so.
I'm going to recommend that you don't go to the lesbian old folks retirement home because
Or look in a mirror.
Ever. No, I get it. See, I'm on the. I got my finger on
Yes.
the pulse. Of,
And Joe
of
got a new
Venera.
job
Yes, that's right. Joe did too.
and
Look
went
at
to
that,
lunch.
see?
so
Yes.
that's
No, set up a
Nero.
voicemail.
And there's one more gay
So
there.
did Joe, though.
There's one more gay
No,
what?
That Joe's job. There's another gay.
One more
he
game.
sought
Apparently
him out.
shitting out rainbows or something. I'm not sure what
That's
it
right.
is.
That's
He
where I
works
found
for
him.
he works at
Shitting
Skittles.
rainbows by the front door.
Works
Check,
for
please.
Skittles. It's a lovely thing.
Those gays.
Oh, they're everywhere.
But yeah. So aside from that, I have just the most wonderful brother who helped out with some washing and drying, and apparently you have a bra for me.
She's referring to me, by the way. Oh, yeah. Let me tell part of this story.
I walked by the washer dryer. I did not see the bra.
No, so
But
Marnie's fiance, Ernie, as some of you listeners may know her as,
the urn.
who was going to be here tonight but couldn't be.
The
It's a long
urn.
story.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyway,
God, it's gone
but-
somewhere.
Wait, is there a reality
urn.
show on tonight?
You know, there
That's
is
fair. That
life
is
after
fair.
lockup or love after.
Oh my God.
I don't know, whipping or something. I
Aaron,
don't know.
Love it or leave it. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Standing in a
Leave me
store screaming at people. I'm not sure what it's called. Anywho, Marnie Ernie decided to donate this washer dryer that's currently sitting in my carport to an elderly couple who needs a
to
washer.
make up their fucking mind. Yes. Digress.
Before
Do
we
you
get
want,
to that,
do you want clean clothes or not?
broken. They have a broken washer dryer. Aaron was going to donate them. I picked them up to make sure they were all working. Everything's good. Yada yada yada.
We thought there was change in it. That's all I'm gonna say.
So I opened the dryer, but no, there wasn't. There was the piece of ductwork, the tubing that you connected to the wall. You know, that was in there, and I took that out, and I'm like, what's that in the back? So I reach in
I can't.
and that.
And it's an over-the-shoulder boulder holder.
Do not stick your hand into things. That's the lesson
I
here.
don't know.
Gonna put
Put on the bra. Put on the bra.
But
Put on the bra.
Marnie tried to convince me that this was her mother's, and I think that's a lie.
That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie.
Now the mother we've met.
Marnie,
No, here you go.
7 years you said it's been in
I'm
there?
saying it's apparently been in there. 7
Was this a
years.
sleepover you did at Aaron's?
It may have been.
All right, here you go. Catch
It's
your
just a-
bra.
It's just a pillow.
Is that really yours?
Will it still work? Does it still fit?
I don't know.
Well,
I'll have to
still
try it
work.
on. I'll try it on at the break.
Oh, won't that be exciting? Yeah.
Let me take a look. Now that I need
So
my
I'm
glasses
leaving
to
right
see.
before the break.
I'm suspicious
gonna
about
try it
that.
on in here.
I'm suspicious about whether that's actually yours.
It might be Aaron's actually.
It,
Oh, it looks like it would be Aaron's. I don't.
I was
even,
going to
I
say,
don't
it
think
looks
I
more
would.
like Aaron's.
Well,
I don't understand
it looks
that
I
right
know
shoddy.
too much about these ladies' breasts, but
Narrow.
Let's see. Well, I mean, it could work for me, but I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Aaron's. We'll put that in the bag.
Currently 5th from the bottom.
Oh,
three, four, five.
no, 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. It's just
Yeah.
the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Yeah. Just a little snottiness.
Yeah. We got lots of it. So
So in
don't
this
know.
story, you're giving away.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
Well, read your phone now,
what-
so you'll get it later.
Oh.
So have they decided? Have Ethel and Lucy decided they don't want the washer dryer now? Is that? Oh, they're catching up.
Yeah, she's all up to speed.
Sorry.
You weren't in there.
no, I don't. I'm just checking an important alert about a football player who retired.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
you're gonna.
From the
You may
Rams.
have a sports segment later coming up. I'm not sure.
Chargers.
No, Luke Kuechly, 28 years old.
Oh, I do my Keekleys every morning to
Yes.
keep it tight.
Anyway, so I work with folks with developmental disabilities, as we know, and I mean
And in
aside
here,
from
aside
this,
from this
right,
group.
right. Aside from this,
Or
And-
people with the word you don't like us to use.
please, guys, come on, just
Va-
this once.
Vapors.
Just this once for me. Okay.
Anyway,
Anyway.
so they have next to no money, right? They get their Social Security, and they don't have a ton of other income that they're able to get. And so their washer and dryer's been on the fritz, and they keep like coming in, and it gets fixed a little, and then whatever, enough. Anyway, so Ernie has this set that has been in storage for the last 7 years.
Oh.
And one of them had been used before.
I used one for the
right.
hair salon for a while.
Right. And so, anyway.
No, I'm a hairdresser on
thought
the
that
side.
that would be
Wait, what?
that just happened.
Now he tells us. Left
Anyway,
the radio.
So they may or may not have a washer and dryer soon, but that is why we're going to donate it to them.
Oh, very
Right.
nice.
Rather than them have to.
And then I'm going to
'cause it's
take
way too
the
expensive.
other set of washer dryer and see if
Possibly.
the repair is
We'll see.
minimal, and then I will turn around and sell them off, and we'll be done with this project.
Or you might
Very
just
good.
sell those up because they
Oh,
can
I see.
fuck off.
All
I'm
right,
not
well,
sure.
all right.
We're not sure. We're not sure what's going to happen. Fuck them.
I might just keep those and put them in my bus. You never know.
That would be fantastic.
No, that will not be happening.
Oh,
That won't be
but that
happening.
would be kind of fun.
That could be. You never know.
Do you still
Life-
going to park that bus in my backyard?
Yes, I was when I was there the other day picking up said washer and dryer. Because I had to plug in.
You had a measuring tape out.
Well,
I'm telling you, I've told him where.
because
like, we can do the whole
because
thing.
the washer, like you said, was full of water from
It
sitting
was? I
outside.
thought so.
So I had to plug it in
No,
to drain
sorry.
it, which is no big deal. Nobody gives a shit. I mean, I had to ask the two squirrels to move out of it, but other than that, it was fine.
That's why I didn't open it.
But I'm
Hi,
standing.
Jenny.
I am standing there at your backyard. And I literally stood on that back sidewalk, and I was like, "God, this is perfect for that bus. This could so work. I just have to move Marnie out as soon as I get that accomplished.
Wait. Now hold on.
Yeah,
There will be no room. No, I'm
There
kidding.
would be no room at the
No,
end. Then.
I would just take over the pool house.
Right.
Right, take over the pool house. The bus would sit there. I have to build onto the pool house.
Why are you in the pool house? Why aren't you in the bus? What's happening?
I have to fix the bus
Oh,
first.
I see.
We got to
Now
work
I'm-
on the bus. There is a lot to do.
We've all seen Into the Wild.
very
Living in a
busy.
bus doesn't always go the way you think.
Fair. Okay. Fair. How is everything? How is the
Everything is
smorgasbord?
fantastic.
That is a lovely buffet.
I love, buddy, you brought treats
This
as well.
is like a sugar coma
And
here.
here's the problem. There's a whole lot more of a sugar coma that's going to happen.
Oh, goody.
I'm trying to think of what I eat.
Well, because here's the thing. You don't really think I would just bring stuff for Buddy.
No, I know
No.
you.
You met me.
Yeah.
Larry Poppins over here always has a full bag.
Yes.
That happened.
We had to get Buddy caught up on my favorite joke ever.
Larry Poppins.
Larry Poppins.
Well, I
What?
know that Al appreciates the snickerdoodle.
Okay.
Motherfucker.
Nice.
So, and not just a snickerdoodle, but an urban cookies
Oh,
snickerdoodle.
they do cinnamon like nobody's business.
Oh, it's really something. You
Hey,
can
buddy.
have that maybe
Would you
later.
put that mic a little bit more in front of you? There you go.
Are you getting my chewing?
No, I want to hear the chewing, but I also when you make
You wanna hear the
but when
chewing.
you because it bothers Molly
And
Montgomery.
then Clayton,
Oh, is that a German
he
chocolate
likes
cake?
the German chocolate.
Right.
Oh my God.
How did you find time today to do all of this, or was it just today?
that's
She's
I
focused now. She's on medicine.
Fucking ADHD meds will cure that. Takes care anyway. So I had to get there before 6,
Oh, I got
and
you.
then I had to go to Safeway for the bugles and the Nutter
You
Butters.
bought bugles at Safeway? They've been there under my nose the whole
I
goddamn
totally
time.
do. Down by the Pringles.
Wait, the single girl Safeway that he goes to, or the big one at
No.
Glendale?
The one on
Son of
7th
a
Avenue.
nutcracker. I did not need that information.
Yeah, down by the Pringles.
You know, I'll tell you
and
another-
they're
I'll-
$1 off today.
I'll tell you another little hint about grocery stores these days. If you open up their app and you type in what you're looking for, it tells you the aisle and shelf it's on.
Oh no, it's an adventure. I don't
Yeah.
want to ruin my adventure.
Yeah, when they come around, like, can I help you find it? No, I'm gonna find it myself.
Yes.
It's a mystery!
Exactly. I'm here for the experience. I don't know what I'm gonna leave with.
Oh, Bootsy, by the way, and I know you're on delay in the chat room, but it's all right. Just let us know. I know you're doing the 100 days, 100 miles walkathon for whatever you're trying to cure, which actually it may just be weight. I think that's what he's doing.
The sugars.
Because he's getting way too thin,
Is
I
he
think.
curing weight for all of us?
But no. It only
Yeah,
works
good.
on the person walking apparently loses weight. You
Yeah.
can't do it by proxy.
Is that how you do it?
What number are you? How many miles and how many pounds do you have to go, sir, to get to your goal? Just
At one point, I saw 40 something.
no,
but
I
I
don't know.
don't always
He
read
walked
Miles are
today.
because I think pounds was down to
The
20.
the
when we-
map
Oh,
the
that-
map he posted
pounds
today,
is a
he
hell
was
of a lot
all
more now.
over where he downtown. He was everywhere. It's crazy.
His the pounds is a whole lot more than 20.
Well, here's a funny story.
Oh, how many he's lost? I gotcha. I thought
Oh,
how many-
yeah.
he's
I
lost like
actually
20 left to
walk-
go.
No, I'm like,
I walk every day, probably about 3 miles.
Really?
Yeah, on my lunchtime, I take a nice, it's about 40-minute walk every day.
and
Oh,
you
very
go and
good.
you take the puppies out, and you're
Oh,
so
I love that.
amazing
Tell
with
people
all
about the
that.
Yo,
puppies.
tell us about that.
Now-
Talk about the
Right
puppies.
now.
Oh, well, it's something I had. You guys all know that I've always been a huge dog lover.
Yep.
Sure.
So is
and
Al.
I've been meaning for so long.
You've hung out with Barbara
One of-
Seville a
One
long
of those
time.
things where you're like, oh, someday I'm going to go volunteer at a shelter, and then you just
You never
don't.
do.
You always find a reason not to do whatever it is you've been planning on doing. Finally, I'm like, fuck it, I need to go do this.
Yeah.
So I went to the shelter. This is like 4 or 5 months ago. Went through their whole orientation and the training and whatever. And now I go and I have people. Just today, somebody messaged me like, "Hey, how can I do this?" And so he wants to go volunteer as well. It's so great. I do want to say something about something that kind of bothers me.
Go ahead,
know,
buddy.
please do.
Say it.
Here we go. You know what grinds my gears? So I like to. There's still, first of all, there's Louis who's still there, and he can't get adopted. And he's just gorgeous. But I like to show photos of the dogs that I'm with and be like, "Hey, come adopt this dog."
Yeah.
And one of the comments that people often make, a variation of this comment is, "I could never do that."
Yeah.
Because it would be so tough. I would want to take them home, or I'd be so sad leaving. And I'm like, fuck you. What am I, some emotionless robot?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I
but
don't-
Can I
like,
answer that?
I don't.
Can I,
No,
pick me.
I know
pick
the
me.
quick
Slow down.
answer is yes, but like, yeah, when I have to put them back in the kennel, it fucks
Right.
me up.
Right.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
sad,
Right.
but
But you
you
also
don't
brought joy.
use
But you
that.
also did a nice thing.
yeah.
Took
Yeah,
a
but
dog
you're a
for a walk.
stronger
Also-
human than I am.
Also,
by it.
don't use that kind of thing as an excuse for not volunteering.
To
Sure.
not
Like,
be kind.
you don't have
Sure.
to volunteer at the animal shelter, but don't
Right.
tell me it's because of how it would affect you. Like, most of
That's
the
pretty
time,
selfish.
volunteering does require some kind of sacrifice.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Whether it's
that's a
time
horrible
or-
excuse, whether
Yeah,
you're
anything, yeah.
volunteering for an animal shelter or to go read books to old people, if that's a thing.
I like people reading to me. That's helpful.
Yeah. Don't
Fair
use it
point,
as
fair
excuse.
point. I call it a
as,
podcast.
You know what it would do to you emotionally. Like if you think volunteering is important, do something about it.
Yes.
It
That's
would
all.
and truly, I applaud you.
Yeah, I do too.
I
That-
absolutely applaud you.
Beautifully
Lovely.
realized.
Beautifully
Yeah,
realized.
sure.
That is what, like, to give time somewhere else, to do anything for someone else in a different way, absolutely. But I think you've met Ernie and I. They would all end up at our house.
I'd have no place to park
I don't
my
think
bus.
the I part of that
That's
story
right.
is
This
the
is
problem.
about the
She has a
what?
beautiful backyard.
Well, you're going to live there. So
And so the dogs, no. But truly, that going to the shelters, even when we go to do the like adoption days and like how we got Annie last time, showing up like that, it's so because you look at them and
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
you
I'm
gotta,
And I
come,
have
you
a-
gotta come home, and because of that backyard that I have,
Yeah.
I have always thought, well, I have the room,
Yeah.
No.
but Annie's. I mean, and this
You
is
just
a
have a
great
full
thing, but
family
Annie's,
already, though.
Annie's
But you-
between
yeah.
the cancer and the this and the that and the financial
It's
piece
it's a
of
burden.
the vet kind of bills for 4 dogs and whatever, you kind of go.
someday we'll lose all viewers, and I'll just tell you what I think about all of that. Because
Does this is like an old Yeller stories you're going to
no,
tell?
I think when people are
You know what to do, boy. Take the dog out back.
are such animal lovers, but say something like, but I won't go do something kind because it might hurt my feelings.
Right.
Sure.
Or they pay like $700 for
Yeah.
some
Oh,
like
bullshit
breed of
dog.
dog.
Right.
If you're
Right,
an animal
I
lover.
can't.
If you're an
I
animal
can't.
lover, go help a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Don't
agree.
support people that are breeding for
Yeah.
kids. Like, you know what I mean?
I agree. I agree.
It just turns into some kind of eugenics that just
Right.
it bothers me, but then I become the bad person in the story, so I don't say it except for I guess
No,
here.
And one other
agree
thing-
I guess
with
we're
you
in public
totally.
and have it recorded
One-
for posterity.
one other thing
I
that
guess
I-
that's when I'll say it.
I want to kind of maybe dispel a common idea that people have about quote kill shelters, because people are like, oh, Humane Society, they're a kill shelter. Well, that's really unfair to like the Humane Society, because the Humane Society, they've got to take every dog that comes to them.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And do they have to put some down eventually? Perhaps. But the
And
shelter
some are
that
already
I
sick when they show up.
the shelter
and-
that
yeah.
I volunteer for and others, they will go get them from the Humane Society. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Oh, all right.
animals don't have to be
right.
put down. But again, the shelter that I'm at, they don't have to just take any dog. I mean, they will, but they don't. If they don't have the room, they're not going to go out and get more dogs.
Right, right.
Whereas a Humane Society, or a city pound or the county pound or whatever, if a stray dog shows up, they have to take it in.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of unfair that we demonize them as a kill shelter.
I
Like
I
they're
do-
doing the best they can.
I have a follow-up
I
question
agree.
about kill shelters. The name it's like killer
Yeah,
whale.
right,
Like
right.
it sounds bad. I get it.
love
But
Nero.
how does that usually work? Do they? What I mean is, 10 dogs come in.
Yeah.
3 dogs clearly are not doing well. Do they just do a general? Do they do an assessment? They figure out, okay, this dog legitimately has cancer, and it would just be in everybody's best interest if the dog is
Yeah.
I don't know about
takes
a
a
kill
nap,
shelter.
as opposed to I just was
Yeah.
curious. How do they amortize
And I
which
love that you
dogs?
just said it that way.
Well,
'cause I
at
can't.
the shelter I
Love that.
volunteer at, there's a whole clinic.
Right.
And so
Okay.
when the dogs come in, they do get seen and go
Assessed.
through triage,
Right,
so
right,
to
yeah.
speak.
Right.
They might live in the clinic for a couple weeks. You
Yep.
know what I mean? But I don't know what the Humane Society does if they're like,
Well,
hey,
and there are people
we
that
can't
come in.
help this dog.
Right.
I'm sure that happens.
Oh, it has to.
But there are, but I think they
Hospitals
put
do
a
it
thing
too.
out there. They
They should
put,
do more of that.
Right, they put a kind of a post out there
Yeah.
that for people, because there are people that do hospice for dogs or cats
Yeah.
that will take them, the older
Wow.
animals, and only adopt older animals. Only adopt sickly animals, and it's kind of like I said, like a hospice for animals,
And
it
Al,
really is.
My organization, Arizona Animal Welfare
Mm-hmm.
League, they will routinely rescue from puppy mills.
Yeah,
Oh,
So they
good.
will go to puppy mills or dog fighting organizations. They will rescue dogs from all kinds of places.
Yep.
So we don't like puppy mills, but AAWL will go grab give
Sure.
us these dogs that you are
that aren't
know,
good
that-
enough to be sold. Right.
Yeah,
right.
that you're going to probably put down because
organic
you
orange.
waited 6 months and nobody's bought this pure breed.
What is the turnaround time for the shelter average of like how between what is the success rate? Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
I've
to
seen-
finding forever homes.
I've seen a lot of dogs, at least from the time that they're available for adoption. Now they may come in and it may be a few weeks before they're even available.
Right.
Sure,
But
All
which
the
makes
shops
right.
I've seen
and-
dogs get adopted within a week.
No.
Oh, very
Two
cool.
I
weeks.
love it when you put that on your posts.
And where
Like
is
that
the-
all of a
where is the
sudden
shelter
it'll
you
say
go to?
adopted.
40th Street and Washington. It
Okay.
shares a parking lot with Speedy Street Tacos.
Oh,
It's
convenient
kitty corner.
for you.
Yeah.
You go in for tacos.
Oh, it's right
Now
across,
the real.
That's right
how it
across
started.
from Gateway Community
Yeah.
College, right?
Yeah, kitty corner from it.
But there is one dog who's 8 years old. His name is Louie, and he is the most
yeah.
lovable. He's been there for about 2 months now, and he can't get adopted because he's 8. And people
Sure. No, I
don't want an 8-year-old
Right,
dog.
right.
But he is the most lovable dog, and I'm not.
Dogs
making
don't know
that
to
up,
lie
like-
about their age.
He is just. He gives you so much love.
if it was your dog,
pains
you
me
would.
so much.
I know. Well, that's what happened with Annie when we saw Annie. Like there was an event because right on 27th Street in Indian School, there's a new complex kind of that is going to be a vet. And
Oh,
the
you're right.
Right.
rescue
Yeah.
and
Right.
whatever.
I do recall seeing it.
That's where we went for because they had like come and see these puppies. It was
Yeah.
lure
Right.
you in.
Sucker you in.
And they had different booths up and different things, and so come and just see the puppies and have some wine, and nothing says Aaron like that. So we showed up.
I think puppies and wine, we could get her into a windowless van.
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
I think she would walk right by stranger danger
Say
to
that?
be like,
Right.
puppies and wine, tell me
And
more.
Skittles?
Hell, she'd model that bra I just
my.
gave
Yeah,
you.
she
Are
sure
you
would.
kidding?
Yeah.
She sure would.
What are you, a size 12?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Hey, little girl.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Roomy.
but that's how we walked in there and here are all these puppies that I was having a fit because I'm like, we found out after we got in there that all of those puppies had already been adopted, and I was like, oh hell no. You
Oh,
are
that's
not-
the best
if
way to
that's
find out
my
nothing's
dog,
for sale.
Yeah, but if that's my puppy, you get your goddamn hands off it because what all these people are just passing it around. No.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then
I
we
went a
back,
different way with
yeah,
that.
no, and then we went
Yeah,
back.
Well, although the
outside.
puppies had to have dealer prep and undercoating before they got released to their new owner.
You got to worry about rust.
No.
From what I
Rust-free
understand.
puppies.
Yeah.
And then we went outside and we were just looking at some different things, and there was Annie, and you just.
That is a
And
typical
she's like
ploy
7
for
or 8 years old.
That is a
so.
very typical ploy for as a car dealership. You
Oh,
love this
sure.
car, it's beautiful color. Unfortunately, this one is so. We've
Yeah,
got
oh.
these other
Yeah.
ones you
Yeah.
might like.
Yeah.
We have
I've
this lovely
fallen-
Chevy Chevette from
I have
1981.
fallen victim to
Yeah.
that old
Yep.
trick. Yeah.
With cars or dogs?
Car.
Men.
Oh, okay, cars. Got,
Yeah,
men-
he's cute,
men-
but he
yeah.
doesn't like
I
you.
love it.
But this one over
Boyfriends too.
here,
I did fall prey to that with boyfriends because I met these two guys. This is in the mid '90s. Met these two guys who were friends at BS West on a Wednesday. You remember how
Yeah.
Wednesday used to be
yeah,
insane?
we kinda-
I
The
think
therapist
maybe it
is
still is.
all
I don't know.
filled in.
And I
Right on board.
Yeah.
I thought the next day one of them called me and wanted to go out, and I thought it was the other one. And I ended up dating the guy for like 2 months. Because I'm like, the sex was good.
okay.
So that
yeah,
was-
exactly. So, you're not
Why
the guy I
not?
wanted, but
Yeah. Second best. All right.
I feel like I don't know what. There's a song.
let's put it in
somewhere.
washing terms. Couple loads later.
Lather, rinse, repeat
Yeah.
that. There you go.
How about you, sir? I've done nothing.
a
Otherwise.
lot of Donna
We got a
Summer.
lot of mileage
We
out of
sure
you
did.
right
Yeah.
there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Typically,
A lot of Donna Summer. Saw the musical
Yeah.
I saw it last Tuesday.
twice,
Yep.
and this I saw it in previews before it went to Broadway, and it was good. But they tweaked a couple little things, and they made them stop singing them like theater songs and made them sing them like
Like Donna.
her.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you saw that initially, right? And
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
weren't
remember
a
you
big
went
fan.
to LA to see
It
it, right?
suffers. It's
Right?
actually in La Jolla, down in
La Jolla,
San
okay.
Diego,
Okay.
La Jolla
I'm
Playhouse.
trying to now envision Enough is Enough done as a Broadway belting
I
song.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. It was like when they got to Last Dance, they were trying. They weren't doing it with her intonation. They were doing it more like add your own spin to it. It's like we're kind of here to hear Donna Summer.
Right.
So how about we sing it like Donna Summer? So that was the only thing. There was a tiny bit of tweaking. It's not. It's just it's like a
great
concert
fun.
with a lot of information shoved in between.
Someone asked me, "Oh, is that a great show?" And I said, "It's great fun."
Yeah.
Okay.
And it really is.
Yeah, it
enjoyable
is.
music.
It is.
It's a
Kinda,
Donna
yeah.
Summer concert with a couple of facts thrown in.
My
Yeah.
favorite Donna Summer song, I was disappointed. It didn't get like the treatment I thought it deserved. It was sort of an afterthought, and that's on the radio.
Yeah.
I was like,
That is a
oh,
good song.
okay. But other than that, I mean, what was the showstopper? God damn.
Friends Unknown or MacArthur Park.
No, it was.
Can
Sort
you
of,
hum a few bars?
fuck, I'll have to look it up.
I'd
but
like you to sing the
there
whole
was
thing.
one, and it's a well-known Donna Summer song, and now I just can't remember it. But it was the absolute showstopper.
Oh, She Works Hard for the Money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the song after that might have been, was that Friends Unknown?
Yeah, Friends Unknown.
I remember back to back. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
Real
and that was the
fucking
one. And I think Donna would have been very pleased to know that in her several attempts to write a musical, that without that, like, she got a couple of really theatrical songs in, the I Love You song, and that was kind of cute.
Hang on, pause for a second.
Yeah.
Who's in that queue of texting that is not part of our friend group?
It's Buddy Early.
I don't think that's Buddy Early's,
I don't either.
because Buddy didn't pick up his phone to respond, and somebody
and this
responded.
poor person is like,
Buddy, did
"Who's
you
this?"
change phone numbers?
Yeah, he did. It's Buddy. Years ago. It's Buddy responding to me. Buddy Early, huh? Who is this?
Oh, you did respond. I didn't. Never mind. Of tragedy avoided, world saved.
Oh God.
Because I got
Oh,
a number in
Jesus.
my phone that's like, I don't know who the fuck this is.
Yeah.
Not responded to anything.
That's what I thought. He hadn't
Yeah.
picked up his phone.
That's why.
So I don't know who has Buddy's old number that you're texting.
Oh, yeah, I guess I don't.
I mean, I changed my number about 6 years ago. 6 or 7
I'm
years
like,
ago.
So may I
sure
have
that-
may I have your current number, please?
Text him the current number because I wouldn't do it on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Did it used to be?
Used to start with 999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's funny.
Somebody else has it now.
And now they're pretending to be me? Well, you can't blame
No,
me.
they just said, "Huh, who is this?"
I'm gonna.
Oh, okay.
They should bow out of that message
Yeah.
trio.
Okay, so
Anyway.
Poor thing.
lots of fun, and I really love that a song that she wrote and got a little bit of grief for it because Paul Jabara, who wrote Last Dance, when the whole like gay problem started, where people were accusing her of saying shit and being anti-gay, and she finally was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, I didn't know that was a thing. No one had really like updated her on like what was going on."
Right.
So she had worked with Paul Jabbar, and Paul Jabbar had wrote a song for her as kind of to address the issue of the
That.
message of like I'm really not like that. I don't know what you're all fucking talking about.
Right.
And wow, there's a lot of times that I text this person.
You probably thought Buddy's such an asshole. He never responds.
Right?
Yeah. So
We have to scroll back through that and find out
so-
how long it's been.
she decided that she was going to write her own song called Friends Unknown, a message to like, for all of you that have always followed me, and my message back to you is like, to all of you out in the dark, I love you. And it's a beautiful song, and she sings the living shit out of it. And it turns into the 11 o'clock number of the show, and they make it part of the whole like, okay, there was a comment made when I first got religious, and it was just a bad joke. And then I'm very private. No one tells me gossip that's going around. The internet wasn't around. There was no way for her to get the blowback that was happening until finally someone in her family was like, the gays think you don't like them.
Yeah.
So then she
might want to rethink
she
these.
sued whoever published it, and then it kind of pissed people off that she didn't do the Paul Jabara song that he wrote for her because she thought it would be better if it was something she wrote.
Okay.
But because he's gay, that came as like another slap in the
Slap in
face
the
to
face.
gays. But her song is much, much better.
Did she
And then-
eventually do his too, or no?
No, she never did. And then he died right after. So then it got even worse.
worse.
So
yeah.
then she killed him.
Yeah,
Right.
right. But and just lovely. I mean, the thing where they turned "Dim All the Lights" into a church song, I just thought was lovely.
Uh-huh.
And it's 110 minutes, no intermission. You're in, you're out. You get
Oh, okay.
19 good songs.
It's-
It's a lot of fun.
Except for a couple bits of information, it's the feel-good concert of
Yeah.
the year.
Oh, good.
Couple of times, or maybe she wasn't happy that year, but you're just smiling along, dancing, tapping your feet.
I learned two things, and the one thing that I didn't realize was the origins of Mimi. I didn't realize how that had all come together, because for some reason I thought
Well, when two people love each other very,
I
very much.
understand that part I got, but I didn't realize that was
birds
when
and
she
the
first had
bees
gone to
and-
On
Germany.
this bottle, let me show you where a man.
Wow, you're gonna use a Mike's hard liquor
Oh,
bottle.
there you go.
By the way, can I have a few of those peanut butter buttery thingies?
Nutter butters.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh,
Nutter
look at that.
butter.
Thank you. I'm gonna put them right next to my Ritz crackers.
Nice.
Plugging, branding now. That's what we're doing.
That's like a Matt TV character. I'm going to put him right next to my Ritz crackers.
That does. Sounds like something good.
No, the Target lady on Kristen Wiig.
Plug
Target
your number
lady.
in there.
Didn't I text you?
No,
Or
you don't have my
a different
number. I don't.
Oh
but-
my God, who are you texting?
Oh my God!
both
I have
of you.
no
are-
idea what's happening with these.
You know,
two.
I have a feeling your friendship could be so much
Tomo.
stronger if you only would have been able
Oh,
to text
hi,
each
Tomo.
other.
Hi.
Tomo. Tomo.
Hi.
You're not tuning in late, sir. You are just fine. Tomo, how are
love
things
it.
on that side of the, well,
Yeah, for real.
lots going on over there too.
Yeah.
It's very busy. Lots happening.
Very busy.
Okay.
But yeah, the Donna Summer thing it was very fun. It was very fun to be there with my allegedly disabled mother because Al had to get us. My mother was an invalid basically in the show to
Oh.
get her the seating that we got because he
you
couldn't find
kick her leg and
he
tell her
couldn't
to
find
limp?
seats together.
Oh my God, yes. So I got us 3 seats.
You tripped her on
And
the way
I
in?
didn't realize that it was my seat wasn't the problem. It was their seats that I had to like keep checking that. Yes, I'm handicapped. Yes, my legs
Oh
are
my
gone.
God.
Yes, I'm handicapped. Give me the goddamn seats. So, and I kept saying that, and I'm like, tell your mom she's got a limp. She got to do something. So we get down there,
Oh my
and I
God.
had so effectively portrayed her as unable to walk that the seat was gone. They made room for a wheelchair.
Oh God.
So I was like, oh my God, there's not even a chair here. Like, so I went back and I'm like, I didn't realize how this worked. So I told this poor woman
my
that she
God.
couldn't bring her wheelchair, and I just made her walk downstairs. Is there any way? And the best part was, is she was sitting there talking to us, and we're standing and she's sitting.
Yeah.
So she really did play the part well of like, oh, I just have to rest my weary bones.
My mom used to do local theater back in our hometown, so
Oh my God, it was absolutely
Oh my God.
perfect how well she played it off. So they bring her the chair, and then I ran and went to the bathroom real quick because they were like, there, there's a short delay, go pee. So I listened, and I said to him, I am so awful. I told her that she couldn't bring her chair. I didn't know about this elevator. I just made this poor woman walk down these stairs, and the lady's like, oh, it's okay.
you should apologize
my
to her.
God.
Yeah, right. So that was it. So that was the whole
Oh
week.
my God.
But
Lots of fun.
it was very fun. I was glad to and again I think that concert was that's the wrap up. That's the final step in Clayton turned 50 party because he bought those for me when back it was August whenever they were released. I don't
Yeah.
recall, but it was for my 50th birthday, so it was really lovely to go to this and my mom there and him, and we had a lovely dinner before, which was. You know the story. Don't listen to Al with regards to how far anything is from anything else.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the walk all the way down both directions of Mill was lovely. And we got all the way to Gamage, and
Yeah.
it was just,
Oh, and the dinner was. I picked the right restaurant, but in the wrong location, and the dinner was delicious.
It was
Did you
wonderful.
see
Go to
Thomas'
Cafe Boa?
question? Is that a hat or head trauma?
huh? Oh, you can't. Oh, it's just.
It's hard to
Well, it's a
tell.
hat.
Did you guys
It's
go to
put on
Cafe
backwards.
Boa?
Yes.
Oh, I knew you were talking about
Yeah.
that. So good.
Cafe Bowl's good.
Oh my God! I had a rabbit on some kind of a
So good.
peachy pasta.
Yeah, it was all it was
sounds
good. Mom, there was
terrifying.
the sauce that was on Mom's pot. She was like, "I gotta figure out how to make this." It was lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely, 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 lovely.
No,
Yeah.
no rabbit though. I'm good with Sam's rabbit.
The rabbit was delicious.
Yeah. How about you, sir?
Also went to the show with him. That was good. That was entertaining. Trying to think what else this past week. I feel like there's something else big that happened, but I don't really. Here. No. This, I don't know how it's going to go. I have kind of been talked into it, but I'm willing to take a leap because it's something that not everybody gets a chance to do in their life. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? I'm just going to do it. So my friend Sam Martinez, Ricardo's friend Sam has been a moderator for Comic-Con here downtown in Phoenix for many, many, many
Yeah.
years. Huge sci-fi fan, very big Star Wars fan. There's, he knows all the ins and outs of all the little stuff and where the new little Yoda came from and all that bullshit, right? So, what? What? Bootsy, I don't even know what that even means right now, but all right. Anywho, yeah, head trauma. Maybe that's it. So, anywho, he has convinced me because they have panelists that you go, they assign rooms and they promote that you're there and people go in, they have a Q&A time. So he has booked me in Phoenix Comic-Con in March
I might
for
even have to
3
go.
days,
Yeah.
an hour a day, just Q&A with Clayton McKee.
Well, that's funny.
Oh,
Swear on everything. He has booked this.
Oh, tell me what
So,
hour.
well, I don't know
Yeah,
yet,
we
but he
need to
wanted me
know.
to commit early so that we could pick what we wanted because you don't have to really commit until like the latter part of February. But he's like, if you wait, he goes, the better time slots are going to be gone.
Sure.
So he's like, I want to get it buttoned down. So now we're going to go into probably this next week. We're going to start putting together because a part of it is yes, there's Q&A, but then there's also you can explain who you are, what you do, maybe a slideshow, whatever, and
You
then
gonna wear the heels?
no, not at this weight.
I didn't know if you'd be going in costume.
No, but that's part of what he said was very interesting was because I used to impersonate George.
Right.
He said that ties in
Sure.
with these people love to dress up and
Yeah,
their
cosplay.
characters and their. He's like, so that is your
I
in.
use that in a sentence like I've always known what it meant.
You did. I
right?
was proud of you for
That
that.
was interesting.
So anyway, I have just recently agreed to that, and I don't know.
Good.
Again, no idea how it's going to go. Don't care. But I thought to
I'm
myself,
gonna get my questions ready.
how many times in somebody's life do you get to be part of Comic-Con in that way?
Sure.
Yeah.
Not just a participant. You get to go there and be part of it for in the fifth largest city in America. I just thought that was interesting. And apparently the guy who started all of Comic-Con, according to Sam, is very cool, very fun guy, and is on board with me doing all of this.
Oh, cool.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's fine.
Isn't that a crazy thing to do?
Yeah.
It is
That's,
fun.
that's
We
what
need
I
to
am.
know what hours there. Like
So
when,
I'm gonna try
and
to.
when
I got a
we're
lot
gonna
to
be
fit in here. I got to figure out my key theory.
there. Yeah.
I got to figure out that. I got.
Good call.
There's
We're gonna do a
Stealing.
TED talk.
There's a bus thing that's
Yeah.
got to happen too.
That's right.
We got to figure. There's a lot to go into this. How
And
to
the key is from the
how to
bus.
fix and repair any. There aren't any.
Aha.
The only key to the bus at this point is the one that I locked the door, which is actually just a deadbolt that you could put on a house.
All right.
So, anyhow, that's
I like
one of
it.
the things that happened this past week. And
I love it, Mike.
feel
Do a
like there's-
PowerPoint on the bus.
there's a very good chance of that, Mike. That Mike B is my
right,
cousin,
that's right.
Michael.
How are you?
Hi, Mike.
Mike in the old chat room there.
Hi there.
He sent me a text because I guess he hadn't seen this white anomaly that has become my face. He sent me a text that says, "Nice beard, you longshoreman."
Bootsy,
Gave
is that
him
a
a yellow coat.
Did Bootsy just do a backdoor brag? I'm so sad. I'll be in Mexico during Comic-Con.
It'll
When
be-
isn't Bootsy anywhere but here?
right, Bootsy's gone a lot. I don't know what that is.
I can't watch American Idol because I have perfect pitch.
Yeah.
We get you, Bootsy.
By the way, for if you were listening earlier on, I asked Bootsy about her 100 miles in 100 days and how it's going. Currently 56 miles. Is it 56 miles into the 100 miles? 60 pounds down and
Yeah.
20 to go. Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
he's doing
Amazing.
he's doing the most work.
I'm
and
doing
again, if
whatever.
you
I'm gonna go the other way.
if you
so,
could-
and I'm racing him,
oh you're gonna see if you can gain. Got it. I see.
yeah.
and I'm winning.
I know. I got to get on that goddamn bike.
Good for you. Good for all of you. Yes. So I think that's
you go.
really about all the news that is the news across the nation right now.
All right, well, it was
Fantastic.
fun being here. I'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good talk.
Well, I've got to create this little break that I didn't do because I was so busy talking with you all.
So busy.
Yeah, there's this and this.
Did you see it? So you like that little Harold and Maude thing?
Yes.
I thought of you guys.
I just couldn't see the date on it.
It is March. End of February, I believe. Nope, I'm lying completely. Thursday, February 13th. There's what we're talking about is that there's a Harold and Maude collective that's going to be a Phoenix Film Collective, and what they're going to do is it's the 71 cult classic, Harold and Maude, a beautiful film about love, death, obsession, and trying to find your way in life. Directed by Hal Ashby. Young Harold, Bud Court, lives a charming life, but is obsessed, etc., move forward. And who is going to be there is what I'm trying to get to. The
I
producers...
think the only person still alive is Bud Court.
Charles Mulvihill and actress Sherry Summers will join the Phoenix Collective for a Q&A after the film. She was one of the girlfriends. Sherry Summers was one of the girlfriends Harold's mom tried to set him up with. They both live
Not
in
the
Phoenix.
entire Southwest.
Not the entire thing. Anyway, and they both volunteer with the Mayday Pit Bull Rescue, an advocacy nonprofit organization, and a donation will be made to that group for joining.
Wow.
And
And
joining in on that.
if you in the audience listening have never seen Harold and Maude, do yourself one of the best favors you'll ever do.
You have talked about that forever.
And watch
Yeah.
that fucking movie.
No.
Just one of the funniest things. Oh, Harold.
Oh.
Sunflower.
But I just thought that would be kind of fun for you to be able to see like on big screen again, and
Well,
or for the first time. I don't know.
Does everybody have their headlines in order and ready to go for the tease?
Not
'Cause,
necessarily.
buddy, we do it a different way now.
Oh.
We do a tease at the end of the first segment. Then we do the crossover and we come back and read our headlines. So that way they know what's coming.
Uh-huh.
It's a tease in the business, we call it.
I'm very familiar with a tease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So let's see
A
how
little too familiar.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see how this works, and we'll try it this way. All right, kids, it is time. The end of segment 1, our headlines. We're going to give you a little bit of what we're going to be reading about, and then we're going to take a break and come back and read said headlines. Oh, Las Vegas pigeon loses battle with life.
Whoa. A glittering symbol of the press, the museum closes its doors.
Say bye-bye to the balls.
Trial by combat for divorce.
End of an era, Microsoft in support of Windows 7.
Oh, wait, I need another one, don't I?
It's all right.
Pass.
Pass.
Somebody, pass. Well, there are all kinds of ways to say, sorry, we're closed.
I'm going to talk way too much about the Oscars. So
Okay, of course you will. So
Oh,
we'll get there
not
right.
Obviously.
All right, kids, it's the end of the first segment. We'll be back for headlines just after this. Stay with us.
I'm here because I burned some bridges at Wendy's.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
Educates, syncopates, radio communicates, radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Oh my gosh. Hi everybody, welcome back. I was trying to do something in the production quality thingy we call a broadcast center, and I screwed it up. It's all right, we're back, we're here. Al is opening champagne bottles in the kitchen. I've got a cupcake in front of me along with my strawberries. Buddy Early is sitting in Cat Carlson's seat. Buddy Early, when we started this show on a dime and a prayer back in
And a-
April of 2012, Buddy
With
Early.
a dance belt and a tube of chapstick.
Oh my God.
I want to know where this fucking dime is because I haven't seen any of
Well,
it.
due to
Inflation.
inflation,
Oh, I see.
we lost said dime.
All right.
Anywho, Buddy Early's joining us tonight instead of Cat Carlson, who was busy. said that the dinner is running long. She said she still may not make it, but we're in hopes. Because who's not in hopes that she would show up and bless us with her presence? Kat Carlson, of course. Well, remember a few weeks ago we did a story right here on this very show. Buddy, you may not remember because you weren't here. Local celebrity. We did a story about the pigeons in Vegas that showed up with little cowboy hats. Little cowboy hats. Well, local celebrity and former cowboy hat wearing pigeon, Billy the Pidge.
Oh, no, not Billy.
Has died.
Oh.
This according to a local pigeon rescue group.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I remember I found them on Facebook, and I like them. They have a Facebook.
But I don't know why you would why rescue pigeons. They're not indigenous to America. Send them back to England where they came from.
Well, they're the rats of the sky.
They are fucking rats, right?
Yeah.
Anywho, Billy the Pidge was one of several local pigeons that drew attention online after someone glued little tiny cowboy hats on her heads and then let them loose.
Yeah.
She and another pigeon named
Another animal lover.
Yeah, she and another pigeon named Cluck Norris, named that by the rescuers. They were captured and then relieved of their hats in December. Now, according to the oh my God, look at the champagne! Look at this, lovely. Enjoy.
To you all.
Up yours. According to the captors or the rescuers, depending on how you read this story, she was weak when we caught her and had lost toes due to string foot, in addition to the hat being glued to her head. Lofty Hopes, which is the pigeon rescue group, had tracked down both birds. This was posted Sunday on Twitter. Now, Lofty Hopes founder Mariah Hillman said that string foot is a condition where string becomes wrapped around a bird's ankle, almost like what happened to you in the bells earlier.
Oh,
yes, it was a great tragedy.
So what happens is the string gets wrapped around the ankle, and it causes the foot to lose circulation. You know, and thereby, I mean, eventually could amputate
I'm
just
familiar,
the fall.
yeah.
Right, exactly. Hillman and her volunteers are still trying to catch a third hat-wearing pigeon dubbed Calamity Jane.
That's right.
Who was spotted within the past week, but still had her hat on. Billy is survived by Cluck Norris, Calamity Jane, and all her friends, feathered and otherwise, at Lofty Hopes in Las Vegas.
I do love Lofty Hopes. That's good times.
Lofty Hopes. I found them on Facebook, and I did like them, but then they put on way too
Is that
many
like
posts.
a charity that provides sick children with hookers or something?
No, pigeons.
Well, no,
Pigeons.
that's Make-A-Wish.
Hopes. Oh. Lofty Hopes is the low-rent version of Make-A-Wish.
Any sick child that says they want a hooker, you get a
You
hooker.
get a hooker.
Lofty Hope sounds like a fun drag name, though, doesn't it?
It's fair.
Barbara put one up for sale yesterday that really made me laugh.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I can't remember. It was
can't
really
think of it
clever.
We'll find it. Buddy, you're free to do your story.
I think I missed the assignment because your stories all sound funny and mine are serious.
No, well,
No, not at all.
no.
We accept all
But
comers.
it's something that's important to me.
I think it's great.
However you identify, buddy, that's what we're into now.
Let nothing
Just
stop you.
steps from the U.S. Capitol, the museum's gleaming glass and steel structure has for over a decade, actually it's 2 decades, been a shining symbol for the press and free expression. But in a reflection of the woes facing the U.S. media industry, which is itself struggling financially while also facing repeated attacks from political leaders, the museum has closed its doors earlier this month.
Oh, wow.
I won't read the rest of the story. The museum was never a big success, but its closure sort of portends who knows what.
Right.
It really is symbolic of where we are in this country with our attitude towards the press and journalism and that sort of thing.
I think some people's attitude. Yeah.
And according to this story on Yahoo, only around 10 to I can't read.
Well, that's bad for being an editor.
Only around 4 in 10 U.S. adults have a, quote, great deal or, quote, fair amount of trust in newspapers, television, and radio to report the news accurately and fairly, according to a Gallup poll released in September. This is down more than 70% in the 1970s.
Okay.
Even though trust has been declining for years, and here's the kicker, President Donald Trump's labeling of the media as the enemy of the people has accelerated that trend, especially among his political allies. And that's why this story is so important to me and resonates with me is we have just demonized the press so much.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Even unintentionally. Donald Trump and the right has, and this is straight out of Nazi Germany, making the press out to be the enemy. That's exactly what Hitler did. That was a big...
Communist Russia, same thing.
Yeah,
Shut down the
exactly.
newspapers.
That's a big part of what they do to ram through their agenda, and it's really scary. and a lot of people are buying into it. And even more than that aspect of it, the general idea of not being able to trust the press, I think, crosses all barriers. We have this attitude towards news now, like nobody's unbiased, and why do they report what they do? They're just trying to get clicks, and yeah, they are. But this idea that news should just be the facts. You know, there's news and there's journalism, and sometimes one is part of the other and vice versa. But people who say, well, why can't they just be like Walter Cronkite? Just get up there and read the day's news. We just want the facts. Yeah, that's news. But journalism is something completely different. Journalism is exposing the truth and exposing people and things like, you know, what's going on in the country. And we need that.
Absolutely.
And so journalism, news is not just, there was a car crash on the I-10 today. No, it's, you know,
The traffic is causing this.
right. And
Traffic
this-
jams, the construction, the
the
unsafe
infrastructure,
conditions. Yeah.
money's been diverted from freeway construction, and we're exposing this. I mean, that's what news is, and we don't appreciate that anymore, and it's really concerning me that we don't put that trust in news anymore. So the museum's closure.
So
when I read about it a few months ago, first of all, I was like, well, that's sad, and not that I ever went.
Okay, so now so you hadn't been. I don't know if there was an online presence. Do you know what was in the museum?
Yeah, they had, and the original story I meant to bring here today, I left.
Oh, the one you left?
And I'm not able to find it here. But there were all kinds of exhibits to the news industry, but also to events. For example, there's a whole 9/11 wing
Sure.
of the museum about how it was covered, how, you know, it impacted news coverage after that, you know, all kinds of things like that. But it's basically a history of the news. It's a regular museum.
I would assume things like maybe old presses that were used
Exactly.
to print the things.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
the way typesetting used to be done, like all of that. I would assume the old artifacts,
Right.
if you will, that were the way it used to be done, because it's not as now it's all digitally done. It's easy to do.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
some about the how the news got across, some about
Yeah.
how it was
Right.
the
A
difficulty
lot of
making it.
most of the exhibits in the museum, and it was a big building. Most of the exhibits are there to show here's how this was covered, how the media used this to impact society. You know, here's the importance of, you know, covering the JFK assassination, and here's how it was covered.
Right.
And, you know, without us, without the media, you wouldn't have this. And it's just kind of sad. I regularly kind of fear for, you know, what's happening in terms of the media, because we just don't appreciate it anymore.
I think the big three, and when I say big three, I still mean ABC, CBS, NBC. I feel like those three, because they're the only legitimate big news, you know, phone news. We're not going to talk about it with that. Anyway, I would think it would be of in their interest for them to all come together in that and just whatever support it. I'm sure it would wind up being a tax write-off for them or whatever, but it needs to stay alive. So that future journalists, reporters, people who are going into this, they don't just see somebody that's all glamorous on TV. I want to do that job just because I want to read the news,
But
which
think
is what I
about-
wanted to do,
think
because
about
I
how
wasn't
we
going to go
used
ask
to-
people questions.
We used to, you know, buy newspapers in the morning.
I did subscribe to the Arizona Republic.
And now
very good.
nobody wants to pay for news anymore.
I
You know?
subscribed to the digital version, but
Very few
regardless,
people do.
Yeah.
People, what they want to do is they click on the news story and see that, oh, your free allotment of 10 stories this month is over, and then they'll bitch. Why should I pay for news? Well, somebody's got to write
Right,
this.
somebody has to-
Somebody's got to investigate this,
Right.
and that's their
that's
job.
their life, right?
Yeah.
So until they can find some revenue stream to pay people and then just put out free newspapers, or, you know, newspapers, whatever. They
Pamphlets.
might have to charge you 40 cents a month, you know, or something
Right.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
It's ridiculous.
What's going to
yeah.
happen?
Again, it's someone's living, it's someone's job, and the less you're willing to pay for a service, the less you're going to get out
And
of it.
people are willing to pay less or nothing because there are all of these phony journalists out there. With anybody can have a blog, and they
Yeah.
report quote the news, but it's not. It's not held to any journalistic standards. It's someone reporting what they think the news is. Oh, Donald Trump said this, I'm going to report it. And there's no actual journalism involved, but it's free to someone, which is really hurting professional journalists who go to school to hone their craft.
Do you think someone like Ronan Farrow is on point?
Well,
for
sure.
all of that?
Well,
Right.
I think that inspires
No,
people
but I'm just
too.
saying, like that kind of thing.
And I
right,
think that's the
because
kind of thing that
thing.
inspires people again to go digging, go
Yeah.
find that stuff. Like, oh, I want to know more. And that
Absolutely.
you just need people's curiosity to come back. That they don't just read one thing and think, okay, that's it. I don't need to know
I
anymore.
believe that now.
And when
Right.
they talk, and I always, whenever somebody brings up the Walter Cronkite just read the news, until he didn't,
Right.
until he helped end Vietnam, because he told people at the end of
Right.
the news, and P.S. this, I'll paraphrase, this bullshit's wrong. And as soon as it came from America's dad,
Yeah.
who they trusted to be impartial, who said, nope, guess what? Curtains pulled back. This has got to stop. That's the start of the end of that.
ASU didn't name their journalism school after Walter Cronkite
Right.
because he read the news.
Yeah.
It was because he upheld journalistic standards,
Integrity.
and exactly. Thank
And
you.
then went and got some stories too. Like he didn't just sit
Right.
there and read what was handed to him.
he wasn't
He
Ted
went-
Knight from
Yeah.
you know.
Although
Mary
Ted
Tyler
Knight,
Moore.
Ted Knight
Mary
wishes he
Tyler
was
Moore.
him.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my rant for.
No, but in this day and age,
I
that is a
get it.
fair and legitimate rant
Yeah.
because, again, maybe I'm blinded, maybe people think I'm nuts, but I have followed ABC and NBC News my entire life. For some reason, was never really on board with CBS. I don't know why.
I never
But
watched CBS News
But
either.
NBC I'm comfortable with them. I believe them. I can usually tell when I'm like, okay, you're hyping the story a little bit up. Come on, I get it. But I feel that all of the facts are there, pro and con,
Right.
on whatever they're investigating. But again, when you see the meme come up and it shows, I'm just going to use this as a comparison. We've all seen it. The Obama years, the Trump years.
Right.
No scandals. 87 scandals. How many indictments?
minute.
0 indictments. 47 indictments. 3 people or
Yeah.
no people in jail. 18 people in jail. Like when you go through that, somebody is fucking checking up. It's not just happening because people
Right.
just hate Trump. No,
But-
it's because he's a fucking idiot, and because
Because they went through trials and they were convicted.
They were up Obama's ass too. But
Oh, sure.
and I'm not saying he's squeaky clean. I'm sure there's something, but come on, we had 8 years of virtually no hullabaloo with that.
There is a very, even though I listened to it because it's so funny, Love It or Leave It this week started the year with an opening segment interviewing somebody who worked at Obama's White House with them. So it's a friend of the pod, as they call it. But he does something about the war powers and about when will Congress ask for that power back. And it's a very interesting 15-minute interview. And I can't think of the gentleman's name that the interview was with, but it's very interesting to hear him say when it was time to attack Syria, Obama was like, let's go to Congress and get authorization for this. And everybody in Congress was like, we don't want to authorize a war. Like, we don't want to do that. And so he had to do something without Congress. When something came up, he was like, let's go to Congress and do this. Like, we do not want to authorize that. We don't want that on our hands for the next election. So we have not actually officially been in a war since World War II. How is that possible? Because Congress keeps not taking that power, so they won't take it back. So now Trump is free to do whatever he wants to, because when it's been offered back to them,
They're like,
since
nope.
Bush,
No, we're good.
the Korea is a police action. You know what I mean? Everything has some name, but none of them were official. We never went to war with anyone. We have not been at war since World War II through Congress. So it's very strange.
Very.
Marrakesh?
Ms. Marnie Ryer.
Marrakesh.
I gotta use them all.
That is. Well, hot damn. I feel like, I don't know. Kind of feel like royalty. Not like in England or anything, 'cause
Well, you'd be wanting to move to
everybody's
Canada.
running away. Yeah, everybody's running away from that. Well, I was going to talk about how Harvey Weinstein doesn't have any balls, but we all know that. And so then I was like, wow,
I'm going to do this.
like Hard Rock Cafe is closing in downtown Phoenix. Did you hear about that?
And in other news, Hard Rock Cafe was open yesterday. I didn't know that. I thought it closed years ago.
Right. No, but that was one of the only places that a lot of people would go because it was literally across the street, right directly across the street from the Suns. But the fact, like, there are just so many things that are.
Okay, y'all
dwindling
can
away.
cancel me right now, but when a chain restaurant closes, I'm not losing sleep.
At
Sorry.
all. No, at all.
I just want to know who gets the
Really?
memorabilia.
Because I know how you guys,
No,
your
that's what
people
you always
like
thought.
chain restaurants.
That's what you always thought.
Oh, you thought the lesbians like the chain
I
restaurants?
just want to
No,
know who
but
gets
only-
the memorabilia. Does
only
it all
Red Lobster.
Does one of the other Hard Rocks just get more cluttered?
Right, exactly.
Well, I'm sure
Right?
they probably have a warehouse, if you will, that they house all of these.
Well, I know they do.
Artifacts.
They do rotate out stuff.
Yeah, no, but there's a lot of memorabilia stuff in there. But then that kind of bored me. So then I wanted to talk about the fact that, I mean, if we're going to talk about somebody who doesn't have any balls, let's just go to this bitch. You know, that cunt named Sylvia.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona Republican.
Honey, what's your name,
introduces
Sylvia? Fuck off, Sylvia.
Fuck off, Sylvia. That's what I was waiting for. See, I was
Like to
waiting
tell
for
her
him.
that her nobody
Yeah.
called today.
And that,
Wow, a 1982 reference.
I like that.
Congratulations.
yeah, you're nobody called today.
Yeah.
Well, so this bitch, Sylvia Allen, I did a story a long time ago, quite a while back, about the fact that that cunt wanted to make it so that everybody had to go to church.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, she was trying to pass.
Yeah,
a
she
bill
was
that
serious about it.
Very, like that. Everybody had to go to church. Fuck is wrong with you, you stupid bitch? Well, then things just become worse, I think. So she has now proposed legislation to remove the word homosexuality from all public school teaching materials and to prevent any student below the age of 12 from receiving sex education.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, for real.
Be her mother?
What's your name, sweetheart?
Sylvia.
Fuck off, Sylvia.
Thank you.
There you go.
Fabulous. Fabulous. That's what I needed. The legislation is scheduled for hearing on today. It was today, I guess. I was thinking it was later this week, but it's today.
What do?
She's an idiot. And what is
Why is she wasting everyone's time? I don't understand.
Aren't there some other things that could be?
Our show 298 was called "Fuck Off, Sylvia" over 2 years ago. What I would have been
Yeah.
Fuck off,
in time
Sylvia.
with that show, but it just popped up on the
Yeah.
YouTube.
Well, and Jeff Esposito is actually a friend of Aaron's brother Ben. So we've gotten to know him, and he's a progressive lobbyist. Jeff Esposito says that Allen's legislation is merely a conservative response to the state's April 2019 repeal of the infamous no promo homo law. Right? There was last year, that was the big thing, which prohibited instruction. That had prohibited instruction in HIV and AIDS curriculum that promotes a homosexual lifestyle or suggests that some methods of sex are safe methods of homosexual sex. It was like they wanted to get rid of all that. Like that was got rid of. They overturned that.
You know, a hand job behind the dumpster, you're not going to get any diseases except for from the dumpster.
Let's not talk
Right.
about the dumpster.
Learned that one the hard way.
Right?
Yeah.
But also the fun way.
Yeah, exactly. You take
Alan's
the good, you
bill-
take the bad.
Thanks, family.
I almost made it back. Allen's bill would require all of Arizona school districts and charter schools to revise their existing sex ed courses in public meetings and then publicly post the revised coursework for a 60-day public comment period. There are so many other things that, and kids now, I mean, it blows my mind because kids are like 9 and they're having sex, and you want to wait until they're at least 13?
Way too late.
Way too late.
So earlier you were talking about old people. You need to,
yeah.
What were you saying about them?
They just need
to
fucking make up their mind.
make up their mind.
Term limits. I hear term limits.
Since we're picking on old people, kind of. And Sylvia, she's definitely an older
What's your name,
American.
sweetheart?
Sylvia.
Fuck off, Sylvia.
One of my favorite
Back to the
favorite current sayings, and you see it in memes and whatnot, is "die mad about it," because that's why are people mad about things, especially when you get to be 60, 70, 80 years old. I can't imagine fucking being just mad at the world,
angry
mad
all the
at
time.
the word
Sure.
homosexual, and mad at people who are living as homosexuals. Like, man, there was an Onion story I saw yesterday. The headline said, 85-year-old man, something like, gonna die, still mad about everything,
Right.
Like,
Right.
what the
That
fuck?
sounds like a David Chappelle character.
And I always have to think, even the most hateful people,
Right.
when they get to that end stage and they're facing their maker and they know I'm passing soon, do they think,
I hate
God.
that fucking fact.
Well, no,
I'm gonna
wanna-
hold on to
I have to
this.
think
Yeah.
people are like,
Isn't that
I
crazy?
spent so much time just
Right,
hating
right.
things.
Right.
Yeah.
And God, that's what I did with my life, is hating things and hating
Sure.
people.
And
Ah!
Sylvia, by 13, the horse is out of the barn.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. No, and
Oh.
you're exactly right, buddy. I mean, the fact of all of that kind of, I don't know. It just seems like such a waste.
I agree.
And
Fuck off, Sylvia.
Thank you. Yeah, right there.
the
Just,
bill would also deem as harmful any material that normalizes sexual conduct between minors or sexual conduct with a minor. That kind of bothered me.
Yeah, they're
Like
two
that
different.
all-
Those are two different animals.
completely, right?
Sex betwixt minors, perfectly normal,
Right.
healthy.
Yes.
You discover
Marty,
sex.
With a
Bootsy,
minor.
Bootsy thinks you're hot for Sylvia.
Oh, you have no idea. Hey, girl, Sylvia. Ew. Oh, my God, I'm going to vomit. Ew.
Sylvia. Fuck off, Sylvia.
Oh, fuck off, Sylvia. Yuck. Anyway, so they want to erase teenage queer sexuality and make the safe consensual exploration of sexuality among teen peers seem scary and dangerous.
You know, they did that in the 70s, 80s,
and
they,
I was
they
going to
said
say,
everybody was still
isn't this
gay.
like dating back to where it's like if we make it like it's this
Oh
awful,
my God,
awful
yeah.
thing, super scary and super bad and everything
and you know what
else?
happens? You find drama club. And then
So-
the next thing you know, you're in the costume room,
so I
giving a
thought
handy for crack.
the other day this headline came out about this
I didn't give
lady.
as many handies as it makes it sound like I did.
Go ahead, sir.
So I saw the post about this, and I thought about it for a few minutes, and I'm like, okay, I don't understand. Like, why do they want to hide all legitimate history?
Right.
Nothing gets taught in the schools. We don't hear the legitimate history of anything. We hear what Rand McNally or whoever the fuck was editing the book at the time, what upstanding white woman
right.
was editing it. You know, we get the
You said
whitewashed
upstanding,
version,
though,
whatever.
that's wrong. Yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
it was the
Fair,
50s
fair.
because we haven't had new textbooks, I think, since the 50s.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not that I've been in any school to even read any of it, but the point was, I forwarded the headline and I made a comment about why is it that they're so animate about not selling real history and telling it. And in the post I said, the first thing I said, for example, let's include the African Americans and all the wonderful things that they've done and they've added to our society and all the achievements, not just focus on slavery. Then I said, bring the gays in, add some culture to this, teach people to know that different is okay. I went through this few things. Oh my God, this black guy on Twitter came at me.
Really?
Just all about how dare you compare blacks to gays. I'm like,
Oh.
not
It's a
Come
cop-out.
not doing it. I
Yeah.
wasn't. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying all of the, and I'm thinking,
But if you want to open the door, everybody
Yeah.
comes in.
right,
Yeah,
everybody comes
that's
in.
right, that's right.
And I've said it 100 times, but it's the same goddamn thing when I go about this Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
All of that.
Right.
I use the same.
But-
Again, all ugly. Your history is your history. You cannot erase that. I don't care what you do, however you got here. I don't care if some great-great-grandmother somewhere along the way slept with blah, blah. That's
Right.
how you got here.
But and the one big difference with ancestry is white people versus black people
Oh,
in America.
yes.
That's a whole different conversation.
No,
of
sure it
who's
is.
not spitting in that cup for different reasons. Like,
Oh, sure.
yeah, you're not going to find out something interesting about your family. You're going to find out something horrible.
horrible. Sure.
About you know what I mean? Like that's a whole nother that's a conversation for
The,
another week. But that's a brutal conversation to have with someone
CBS
about expectations.
Reporter, CBS News, the one who's always doing the Sunday morning show, didn't know this, found out he was completely raised Catholic, went through his whole life, did all this, found out he's Jewish.
Oh.
yeah.
Found the entire rest of the family, and he had a great time. They did a report about him meeting it
Because
all.
someone converted.
You're about-
Someone because religion's a choice.
Well, it's
sexuality's not a choice. You know what it is?
absolutely. I'm sorry.
Religion. Because you can convert
Well,
to marry the person you love.
Aaron's mom, before meeting Mark, is Jewish and left Judaism. Was like, no, I'm done now, not practicing, and so she was already away from temple, and then met Mark and decided to
Just ride that train the rest of the way home.
well, and go with the Methodist religion, but still follows some of the Jewish.
Well, I mean, even if it's shitty wine, it's still wine. Methodists don't drink.
The other story that I followed.
Even if the Jewish wine is shitty, it's still
The
wine.
other story I followed was an older man. I think he was in his early 80s. Did the DNA thing. I think
Take
his
care, Tomo.
I think his
Thank you so much,
granddaughter.
honey.
Bye, Tomo. Good day, sir. I think his granddaughter had
Best of
prompted him
everything,
to do this, and he did the DNA test and found out, oddly, here's something that happened at the hospital. He was swapped at birth accidentally by nurses, and he's like, when they showed the pictures of the brother and sister with the swapped out brother, they're like, he was always different. He was blonde haired, always different. Like his personality never matched us. But then you see him with the other one, they're like, oh, identical. What had happened, according to what they say, is in whatever hospital it was the attack on Pearl Harbor and the hysteria of the day. Something got mismarked or misdone.
Yeah.
And they sent the wrong baby home with the family. They both raised, all of them.
Sure.
The brother the blonde brother had passed away years earlier. But now.
Well, they do that footprint thing so fast now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like you're born, you get a footprint.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, don't they slap a bracelet on you like pretty damn fast too? Or
Yeah,
what?
but more importantly, because the bracelets can get mixed up, they get that footprint.
Oh.
Yep,
Isn't that something?
they do the heel stick to check your whatever they're checking with the heel stick, and they put your foot in ink and on a piece of paper, and they have your footprint because your fingerprints, I guess, haven't developed yet, and you are
Marked.
immediately. We know who you are, so that we will not have a Pearl Harbor Day miss up.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
in a
And
last,
like everybody is like, that's a baby. Keep track of it because they all look
you
alike.
Just keep watching.
They all
That's
look
right.
awful.
That's right. They do little pointy cone-headed things.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the last piece that I just want to let you know about that cunt is that oddly we call it a coinkydink here. I think we don't call this irony, but we call it a coinkydink. Yeah. She lives in Snowflake, Arizona.
Fuck off, Sylvia.
That's a coincidence, but it's nice.
I do appreciate that coincidence, though. The fact that she's from Snowflake.
Of course she is.
So now somebody who has a different way of approaching what to do with that baby you had because no one taught you about sex education.
Ooh,
A Kansas man asked an Iowa court to grant his motion for trial by combat so he can meet his ex-wife and her attorney on the field of battle.
Oh, yes.
Where he will rend their souls from their corporeal bodies. I like the sentence.
Wow, this is some good writing.
David of Puyallup, Kansas, claims in court documents that his ex-wife Bridget destroyed him legally. He asked the Iowa District Court in Shelby to give him 12 weeks lead time to source or forge katana and wakizashi swords, according to the Carroll Times Herald. To this day, trial by combat has never been explicitly
Not
banned
explicitly. Not explicitly. banned.
or restricted
Okay.
as a right in these United States. They put these. I love that.
I do.
I love that.
It was used as recently as 1818
Well.
in a British court. So just day before yesterday.
200 years ago.
Very nice.
Monday, Ostrom told the Des Moines Register he got the idea after learning about a case in 2016 in which New York Supreme Court Justice Philip Minardo acknowledged that duels had not been abolished. Ostrom said the motion stemmed from his frustration with his ex-wife's attorney. I think I've met him. Absurdity with my own absurdity.
Nice.
Ostrom has offered that his ex-wife can choose her attorney as a champion or stand-in fighter. I did not read that in advance. That killed me. Hudson filed a resistance to the trial by combat motion by first correcting his spelling.
I need a Google alert on this story.
Surely, Ostrom meant corporeal and not corporal bodies, which Merriam-Webster defines as having consisting of or relating to a physical material body. Although Ostrom and potential combatant do have souls to be rended, they respectfully request the court not order this done. Hudson argued that because a duel could end in death, such ramifications probably outweigh those of property tax and custody.
Probably.
Just as delightful as I'd hoped. And that's why, and I haven't read it in advance. I Warren Beatty'd that shit, and I'm like,
I do appreciate that.
oral, like, that doesn't seem right.
Wait a minute.
I challenge you to a duel.
Yeah.
Wow, in a wheat
I
field.
challenge you
with
to a
sword.
duet. Why did you bring a sword? Oh, I don't know what the word is.
Spell check. Damn it.
Damn it.
Say this one.
Damn it. Spell check.
Just say that.
Love it.
In a story that will be important to some of you out there in the techie world, some may not. Obviously, some of you are Apple users. Some are not. Microsoft has officially ended its support for the 11-year-old Windows 7 operating system as of today.
Oh.
This action was pre-warned and declared...
Excuse me, I have to go. I have some porn I have to transfer to a new device. You'll excuse me.
Pardon us. We'll be back later.
Yeah,
This entire... Well, no, actually, this entire...
Carl!
Would you believe God's tears?
God's tears.
No,
I will not
this
apologize for
this
it.
entire cast is put together by Windows 10, so we're good. Anyway, the action was pre-warned and declared earlier that all Windows 7 users are required to upgrade to the more recent version of Windows. Getting Windows 10 would give you access to newer software and features not yet unleashed in the Windows 7. Now, the changes will affect hundreds of millions of people because more than a third of PC users use Windows 7 still. This according to Net Market Share, I guess .com, .net, .org, I don't know. That was slightly fewer than Windows 10 users, the most popular PC operating system, which is on about half of the world's personal computers. Windows 10 is used on 900 million devices, this according to recent numbers from Microsoft. What does this mean? Well, it means computers running the crashed operating system are hereby restricted from receiving updates. The important thing to understand is most antivirus softwares are going to stop working. Any security patches are not going to be released. Move on.
Are we
Get
allowed
Windows
to have
10.
follow-up questions?
You can in a minute. They're going to be patches are not going to be issued. They're going to be left vulnerable to malware. Hackers and other malicious attackers will now have easier access to your PC once it gets a little bit outdated. Now, according to Verge, business and education Windows 7 users, that's business and education Windows 7 users, which is a different version of the software, will be able to pay for extended security updates, extended updates for the OS Enterprise at a huge cost going down it. But they do that because obviously there's a lot of schools and businesses that have their entire platform built on certain software, and it costs millions of dollars to upgrade it, especially for schools. Anywho, so in case you're out there and you want to know that you need to upgrade, do it now. Upgrade to Windows 10.
Don't think I didn't just check my laptop here to make sure I had Windows 10 and not Windows 7, because that's where I fucking am.
Well, that's my follow-up question. So what is the current system? Because I liked hearing
Windows
that.
10.
Okay. I was worried that, 1/3 is on this, but we're really on Windows
37
X2
right now.
Electric Boogaloo. You know what I mean?
No. Windows 10 is where
Can't
you
let
are.
Betty go with Betty. Hi, Betty.
More champagne.
We can't let Buddy go without a good. What the fuck are we talking about? I've already lost my train of thought. I'm drunk.
Windows 7 ending, an end of sorts. Anyway, so update your shit if you can. If you can't, sorry.
I gotta listen back. I was on
Buddy,
a roll there and I
Yeah.
lost it.
You have another story you'd like to?
I do. I saw this and I found it interesting.
regale us with. Oh, I found this interesting too. I almost did this story.
We've all been to San
knew
Francisco,
it.
probably multiple times, and we all love it, I think.
Ding with the trolley.
But it's the end of an era because Market Street is going car-free on January 29th.
yeah.
Private vehicles will no longer be allowed to drive San Francisco's major thoroughfare, Market Street, as of January 29th, the city announced earlier this week.
Good for them.
Market Street's sidewalks will be widened to make the street safer for its 500,000 daily walkers to cross, and more street furniture will be installed. Bike
those
lanes
walkers
will
to
be
trip over.
protected from traffic to keep the more than 4,000 cyclists who ride Market
Wow.
daily safe. What I found most interesting was the addition of more street furniture. That's so the people who are
Counterproductive.
shooting up heroin will have a nice, comfortable place
Oh.
to sit.
It's very
apparently.
thoughtful.
Letters can be sent to Buddy early. Care of.
Well, I mean, come on, we've all been there. We know what Market Street's like.
And that the traffic in these cities, in this city, is getting so unbearable in these downtown areas that just get rid of the fucking cars.
Oh, no, you're right.
Force people into a choice. This is not drivable anymore.
Yeah.
We're just not sitting here for a million years waiting for you to pick up your fucking Uber or any of the other things that go on. It's just too congested. It's too much. They did it with Times Square. And at first, everyone thought they would hate it, but you're like, oh my God. Now everybody's not shoved on that sidewalk, waiting to cross 8 different ways. You're free range.
Free
you know what I
range.
mean?
Free
You're
range
making
people.
delicious eggs.
And now, I don't know if it's akin to it, but if you go to the promenade in Santa Monica, the 3rd Street Promenade, I don't know if it was built that way. They let
No, because it used to be 3rd Street.
Okay, right, but I mean, right now they still I think buses are still permitted, but everybody else walks. I don't know.
No, the cross street, the actual 3rd Street that the promenade is on, there is no traffic.
Okay, so that's
There's
it.
2 places where
Where
you
you
can
can cross,
go,
got it.
whatever. They might be going east-west, while
Yeah.
the promenade goes north-south.
But in that situation, which I believe again was originally a through street,
yeah.
now like all of the delivery drivers, they have dollies and they make way. They figure this shit out.
sure.
There's a way to park that big fucking UPS truck or
Because
whatever.
there's a street behind you
Right.
can go to, but what
Parking
you get is
structures.
a lovely walking place.
Yeah.
You have a couple homeless people, 100. You have
You also have artists that perform songs.
right, and it's
cute.
and it's one of the most magical places on earth, the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica.
I don't know what kind of artist you might encounter in the San Francisco area on Market
More
Street.
along the Mapplethorpe genre.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
I got
assume.
gentle fisting.
Folsom Street, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay. I'll
Wow.
just share this one story in case I've
Oh,
never said this
wow,
before.
I don't know if we're ready.
So,
I don't know.
I knew Mapplethorpe for the beautiful flowers. That is how I understood him from the coffee table books with the flowers.
You've told this story.
Okay, so
I
all
really
the
enjoy it.
Please
all
do.
the brouhaha about Mapplethorpe escaped me. I'm like, are people mad at flowers?
Right.
Like I didn't
don't
understand
like
it.
that?
And then I went to San Francisco for the first time, and I wandered into my first, like, not gay bookstore, and I know not blowjobs in the back in a 25-cent booth, but an actual store that sold gay fiction,
Authors.
nonfiction authors, picture books, coffee table books, and I saw my first gay coffee table book, and I saw what Mapplethorpe was selling, and I was like, oh yeah, that's rough.
It's a byline, right?
Even first, I need a minute by myself with a tissue and a bottle of lotion,
Right.
and then I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I get what you're doing. So Joe says that get the Gaslamp District,
I can believe
Gaslamp
that.
Quarter in San Diego, cutting off Fifth Avenue, and that's another place. There's all those wonderful shops, but you're congested, you're trapped,
Right.
and somebody just went there and they were like, oh my god, I didn't like it. It was so congested. I'm like, this is the answer because that's the best restaurants in San Diego.
Right
It
down there by
it's
the
a
ballpark.
charming area. Sort of.
Well,
It's more leading toward, kind of.
Gaslamp
Honestly-
is down-
Leans towards the harbor,
Yeah.
honestly,
It's such a small town.
Mill
you can say at least
Avenue,
anything.
they're almost done putting in that streetcar on Mill Avenue, which takes out a lane.
And then
There's
shut it down.
Like they're eventually headed there for Mill Avenue.
Sure.
That'll be a huge change,
that's-
and probably
and
for
you
the
do
bus,
it
too.
from Casa Viejo, whatever it was called, Casa Vieja, to P.F. Chang's.
Yeah.
Shut
University.
it down.
That's eventually where it's going.
From the
Although-
restaurant I went to the restaurant I thought I was
Yeah.
going to, if you
Although
could just close that down.
they put in the
Manny's.
streetcar, the
Or
streetcar will
Monty's
obviously
La
run. They're not
Casa
going to build it and then be like, oh no, we're shutting
Is
it
the
down.
streetcar have a name?
I hope it's
Desire.
I hope
Just-
so
I hope
too.
it's
Thank
Desire.
you. Thank you. Done here.
Bootsy is talking about
Bootsy.
Minneapolis
Yeah.
as far as the Nicolette Mall is in Minneapolis. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about Denver. But
Denver
that's
has
where,
it great. I can't remember what it's called, but it's great.
Well, and that's where Mary Tyler Moore. They have the statue
Oh.
of Mary Tyler Moore is
Yeah.
on Nicolette Mall.
And many years ago, before
Truly pretty cool.
other places did it,
okay.
a place called Falls Street in Niagara Falls. It just
Uh-huh.
occurred to me. Took their shopping district when that was still a thing before it got taken over by the crack addicts and those of the 70s. They shut down Falls Street and made it a walkway and put a winter garden at the end of it. And I remember like my parents being so
Oh, beautiful.
horrified
Really?
that you couldn't park on Fall Street and go shopping. You'd have to park, and they built a garage, and they made Fall Street in Niagara Falls a walking place. It failed miserably because it was way too early, but it just occurred to me the horrors of the Fall Street walkway, that they had done this thing where there's all these lovely stores, but if you're going to get run over and killed, who cares if you bought a new hat?
I think Denver it's something. Denver it's something just like the 10th Street Mall they call it, or something like that.
Well, and Bootsy says 16th Street Promenade.
Okay,
Does
maybe
that,
that's
does
it.
that mean?
I
I've
think it
not
is a
ever
numbered
been,
street.
so I
Now,
don't know.
can you tell me about the dispensaries that might be located on
Oh,
the
they're all
16th
around there, I'm
Street
sure.
Promenade?
All downtown, downtown Denver. By the way, toss back to earlier. Drag name that Barbara Seville posted: Stanley Cucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Well, there was
Famous
something.
for her Charo impersonation.
You had something on.
That's good. That's
somebody
good.
said that they were going past one of the bars, and it said 2 drinks. There were 2 drinks.
I saw that post today.
And you said, "Are you sure that's not drag queen
Oh,
names
no, my
instead
brother-
of
Your
drinks?"
brother did
Oh,
that.
that's right. It was.
Cruising
That's
7th
right.
is on his mail route. He delivers mail to there every day.
Oh, we saw him. We saw your brother.
Oh, did you?
That's right.
So I'm driving his mail truck.
So today their new shot specials were Fat Hooker and something else. Tight Snatch.
Tight Snatch. That's right. And
Thank God for
and
your
Buddy
brother.
was like, "Are you sure that's not the drag queens?"
Just
Name.
Performing
tonight.
today, Tight Snatch
If
and,
you're gonna name yourself something,
Fat
I mean,
Hooker.
I'm saying.
or Stanley
Tight
Cucci. Stanley Cucci.
it's false advertising, Clayton, but you can call yourself Tight
I
Snatch.
would not dare do that.
like.
I am Sans stories. I only chose to do 2. You're out. Are we done with stories?
Well, Al and I have not discussed
Yeah.
the Oscars.
We haven't gotten to that section yet.
No, that's entertainment. That's a whole nother section, buddy.
Yeah, no,
God.
that is.
I know.
You're like, wait a minute.
Breathe. Buddy's here for the
God,
Academy
no.
Awards section of our
Yeah,
program.
that's all buddies. Right. I get why he's saying.
Right? No, that,
So.
But
Yeah,
no,
there was only one
I
thing.
wanted to bring up earlier because
Go
people
ahead.
heard me mention that a football player, Luke Kuechly, at the age of 28, is retiring.
isn't- yeah.
And if you want to know why I'm so interested in that, Google Luke Kuechly, Kuechley, I believe. And you might see why I'm interested in his comings and goings, preferably his comings. But
yeah, well, preferably for you, I'm sure.
That seems judgy.
Whatever. That's fine. Fuck off, Sylvia.
Fuck off, Sylvia.
Mama like.
Kuechlly.
Back to the
Anyway,
perfume
I haven't read the
kind of a
story,
heart.
so I'm curious to see. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year for the Carolina Panthers, so I'm curious to see why he's retiring.
That's
at
a
age
sweaty man in
28.
teal, mama.
What is that from?
Me?
Oh, just right now.
I like sweaty men and I like teal.
Well,
The only thing that that I wanted to throw out, I've been kind of following the debate while we're gabbing, and I do like when Elizabeth Warren gets in zingers, and I do like when she, as they put it in here, use the word befuddles Bernie. I just a befuddled Bernie makes me happy, kind of. And so she had said, the only people on this stage that have won every election that are on this stage are women. And she noted the only person on the stage that has beaten an incumbent Republican anytime in the last 30 years is me, referring to her 2012 defeat of Scott Brown. Sanders then tried to retort that he had beaten a Republican in his first congressional election back in 1990, which Warren then pointed out was in fact 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you
Right,
know,
that's funny.
and he was like,
Bernie, math.
right.
Oh,
There
that's
you
just
have
hard.
that. But maybe that's why they just have $5 that they give each time, because it's like, for me, it'd be
He's
easy
not
math.
good with time, space, continuum.
Yeah, right,
thing.
right. But I did appreciate that, and I love the fact that I can just see her being like, "Yep, that was 30, and I'm in the last."
Welcome to 30.
There you have it. Anyway, so
all right, here we go, Al.
The Academy Award nominations came out today.
What?
That's really all we care about. I'm gonna pan and get hated for a series on the streaming services that I did not enjoy, and a couple that I really did enjoy, and I think that's it. I think we might re-review an 80s movie though if there's time, because I have something to say.
An 80s movie?
Yeah, I've been redoing 80s movies.
Is it Amadeus?
All right, kids.
Rock me, Amadeus.
We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back with Al Entertainment and the Oscars.
I'm on this.
David, what does burning smell like?
Things are certainly racing along at a dangerously rapid velocity.
You're listening to Q Talk America. This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Boys and girls and everything in between, we are back. It's Q Talk America. It's the show on a Tuesday night. You have managed to land into segment 3 of a 3-segment show. So congratulations for arriving late, all of you. My God. We have champagne and there is enough sugar on this table. My God. There's a lot going on.
And we have a lot of corn-based products.
It's true. It's valid. We have two. We have
You don't
that.
get all
I got some strawberries.
Snickerdoodles?
I got a
That's
Crown
how
and
you say
Diet.
it in German.
Crown and Doodle over
I've
here.
got a Mike's Hard Apricot Lemonade.
Coming up in just a little bit, we've got a very special edition of Thoughtful Vulgarity. But now, every year, we do it. He does it. We wait for it.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Oscar season is upon us, and there's nobody better to go through the entire list ad nauseum but Al Perkins.
And Buddy Early, my fellow Oscar enthusiast, who possibly sees more movies than I do.
Well, what I can guarantee
It's a horse race.
is I see more in the theater than you do. I think you stream some.
Oh, no, I think I see more in the theater.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I only see them in the theater. I go bankrupt someday because I can't bear to.
Why is it you
stream
two
movies.
don't go together and enjoy them, or do you prefer to enjoy them solo?
I actually do prefer to go
He's
by
been
myself.
texting the wrong people for years.
Yeah,
Right, I mean,
God, did you see that
that
movie?
may be it too. But I
don't
would
like
not
it,
be
too.
opposed to going with Lady
Yeah.
Al because I know that I'm guessing Al is a movie companion that I would not be annoyed with.
I understand that.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Because there are only a few people.
Right.
And because sometimes I'm like, I'll go to a movie with someone, I'm like, never again.
I do occasionally offer a groan to a companion.
Sure.
But when there's no one with me, I am less inclined to talk.
Oh, sure.
My Kevin,
But you always
Margarita
go.
Ely,
Yeah.
my more regular companion for movies. I think someday he's gonna be like, you can just tell me at the end that part pissed you off. And I'll be like,
What are we doing here?
Snickerdoodles.
Oh, Snickerdoodles.
No.
or I'll
Jesus
be
Christ.
every once in a while I'll be like, all right, that's enough exposition. We're here.
Right.
I just
You
need
had
to
us
get
the
it back
title.
to the beginning somehow.
So we'll just run through a couple things on the Netflix. You season 2, even better than season 1, and it turns out Carolyn Kepnes wrote a second book. So it's based on a sequel. So they weren't completely flying in the dark. If you've not seen You, very disturbing, very upsetting. Vulture has some wonderful articles about like enough with women in cages. I totally agree. Season 2, men are in cages. Very disturbing and a nice surprise. I had not read. I didn't know there was a second book, so I didn't read it. Very good. Atypical. Have you watched that yet on Netflix?
No, I've heard of it.
The Boy on the Spectrum.
Yes.
It's Gilchrist. I can't think of his name. He was the on. He was the son on, let's say, United States of Terra.
I don't know his name.
Atypical.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in years.
Phenomenal cast. I cannot think of the guy that plays her husband. The daughter is great, dealing with having a child on the spectrum that wants to grow up and be independent and try to be an adult on his own. They're on the 3rd season. If they end it, if this is where the show ends, beautiful ending. Because Netflix has that new thing of like 3 seasons. And you're out.
Yeah, Keir Gilchrist.
Yes.
Keir.
He is terrific. They got a lot of criticism for the first season, not having actors play. You know, the worst sin that I think that there is in the world is to have Sean Penn play retarded, and that's the right word for what they're doing on screen because it's awful. Those are the worst. It makes me take this
when
fork
he played Sam or
yeah. Oh, I hate that
Sam.
fucking shit. So in the season 2, they improved on that. A lot of the cast members, anytime he goes to a support group anytime that he has interactions with people in his peer group, they are actors that are on the spectrum.
Okay.
They have writers now that are on the spectrum.
I love
and
it.
it really is an
great.
interesting show to hear. Like, they had a silent prom for him that everybody had headphones on. So
And it's
there
called
was
what?
It's called Atypical.
Okay.
So they had
I
made
love
a
it.
big deal about having the silent prom because loud music bothers him. So everybody could listen to headphones and have the music that they were listening to, but he didn't have to be in an overwhelming environment. And it's funnier than I'm making it sound. The humor is there. It's a really interesting show. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Prime, Epic Fail on whatever season we're on.
Oh.
Wow, did they get that one wrong?
Wow, really?
They did The Irishman, where they're in love with the technology of green screening people into like 1950s, and they're just so in love with the process that they forgot about that didn't work. Like that scene, that didn't happen for me.
Okay.
Still great performances, but just like The Irishman, great performances and something that you're like, okay, we could have wrapped this up like 2 episodes ago because this is going.
Wow.
No, now you're just masturbating. You know what I mean? Now this is a self-congratulatory lap that I have no use for.
Okay.
It's exhausting.
Keep going. You're good.
1917. We'll start with that. See it in the theaters. Don't wait. If you want to learn about World War I, this is not your movie.
Right.
If you want some backstory, some plot, something that's... No, this is not your movie. This is 2 men with a mission being sent out and go.
I'm going again tomorrow.
This movie has
Really?
no
No.
exposition. They just, hey, wake up. I got a job for you. You got to run over here.
Okay.
And then 2 hours. It was Run, Lola, Run in World War I.
Is
Okay.
there's not a single second of this film that is not remarkable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not one wasted second.
This is Sam Mendes did a mic drop here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I'm Steven Spielberg or Paul Thomas Anderson or Martin Scorsese and I'm watching this film, at the end of it, I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta match this.
That's
like
how-
it's remarkable.
Okay.
This is how movies need
So
to be
fucking
made.
good.
Scenery,
You
just
know,
everything.
Every second of it. And
Wow, okay.
they have... And I love, everybody knows, I love a long, unedited shot.
Okay.
My favorite thing. I didn't
Far away.
realize... yeah, thank you. It's delightful. Near the face is always better.
Jesus criminy. Wasn't even thinking.
No,
Wow.
you should have
This
been.
dirty whore got me there.
Whatever.
I didn't realize that they were going for the Birdman, the unexpected virtue of... I didn't realize they were going for a movie with one long continuous shot.
Okay.
I honestly did not think
And
that
I
was the thing.
didn't know until 20, 30 minutes in, really. I'm like, oh, wait, that's what's going on here.
Yeah, it's kind of in real time. The movie is kind of told kind of in real time. There's a couple of edits. And the one that's the most jarring, obvious edit is the one that works the best. The one that, like, the whole audience held their breath. And you could hear when you came out of the darkness, you're like, okay.
But let me say something else about this film.
Everybody.
Yeah.
In addition to the incredible technical elements of this film that is just amazing, the story and dramatic moments are also done so well. Like, it's a great script.
Yeah.
And it's these dramatic moments that have nothing to do with necessarily the cinematography or the edits or the lack of edits or the score or anything. Just these dramatic moments between the characters are done so fucking well.
And everything is so precarious. And it's if the character takes a deep breath and relaxes for a second, that is the only time you get a breath. If the character feels like, or either one of the 2 characters, if one of them is like, okay, then you're like, whew, I needed that. Like, let's all just sit in this meadow for a second. Can we stop?
Just pause for a minute.
And I just kept, and then you would be, because, and it's not all a point of view shot. You're not always just watching what they're seeing. All of a sudden, you're looking at what they're seeing, and then the camera does this thing where it pans around.
Chills. Just
and you're like, oh no, what's behind him? And it's a horror movie trick.
Right.
That it has been used in every horror movie. You know, you open up the refrigerator door, you're looking in the refrigerator, you close the refrigerator, the killer's right there.
Without saying the whole scene with the only female character in the movie, like, how tense was that entire freaking
Did not take a
scene?
breath. Did not take a breath with the only,
Amazing. And there's just so many times during this movie I thought to myself, how did they do that? I don't even understand how they did that.
Was it because there wasn't any like John Williams telling you how to feel, or
Yes,
was John Williams?
the score is remarkable for that reason that it's
Okay.
not beating you over the
It's
head,
not killing you with it.
right? And it's
But
not.
it all worked. Everything just worked so well together.
And
It's
I will
so
say
good.
that, like one of my favorite movies is Dunkirk, where you have this ticking clock that you don't hear till about 3/4. You don't realize you've been listening.
Well,
to
that's true.
Tick 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 tick.
Because
tick,
you
tick,
and I
tick, tick,
disagree.
tick,
That's
tick.
one of the rare films that you and I disagree about. But you're absolutely right about the ticking clock in that. That is brilliantly
You don't
done.
realize how they've been inching this ticking clock on you to let you know, like.
And
oh,
all of a sudden you're like, wait, I've been hearing that this
right,
whole time?
and when the ticking clock stops, you're like, oh my god, that was so tense. And it's very, very subtle, an effect that's used subtly. And then this one, the score was just
I
phenomenal.
just thought, okay, you just give it all the awards.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Oscars, Emmys, Grammys, Super Bowl champions, run it for president. I don't care.
Yeah. And then whatever's
It
left, give to
deserves-
Jennifer Aniston for the morning show. Have you finished the morning show?
I haven't
Just
yet, but I'm excited to because of what you're saying about
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it's a game changer.
And we saw it within an hour of each other.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
because I got out of the movie finding out that he had just gone into the movie.
sure.
And I was like, that blew me away. And again, no exposition. There is no
No,
exposition in this movie.
you're right into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is an hour and 59 of the tightest minutes ever on screen. Like, there is no time to linger here.
Okay.
Now, as we're talking about it, I'm just getting so excited that I agreed to go tomorrow to see it with a friend for
Yeah.
his first time, because we'll be seeing it on the Cine Capri tomorrow, whereas
Right.
I didn't see it there the first time.
I'm
like,
going to see it in the IMAX theater on Thursday
Is
because I
it-
want the.
it is playing on
It
IMAX?
is on IMAX. Yeah.
Well, right now Star Wars is on IMAX.
I think it took over.
I'll have to double check. Okay.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's at IMAX and it's filmed in IMAX because Sam Mendes. This is his second time. Parts of it are actually filmed
Okay.
And
in
it
IMAX.
has that person in it that I just want to hear you say his name.
Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch. I got good at him.
Oh, look
There
at
you
you!
go.
Look at him.
How many years did it take to get there?
Oh, a lot.
About 8.
And a lot of coaching. So, the Oscar nominations
of
were
you.
released. We have talked about many of these movies over time. Actor in a leading role, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory. Pedro Almodóvar, one of my favorite directors. This is a very personal movie about him. Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Adam Driver for Marriage Story. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Go watch it. It'll kill you. Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. There isn't a better performance, unfortunately, in a long time than... And that's your favorite, right? Isn't Joaquin Phoenix your...
Joaquin Phoenix and Christian Bale, who I'm very upset about, I think are the two finest actors we have working in films today.
Yeah.
Really?
Joaquin
Okay.
Phoenix may be my favorite
Okay.
because of the roles he's chosen in the
Yeah.
films, but the two of them I think are a cut above just about everyone else making films as far
So,
as actors.
whenever I see Joaquin Phoenix and he is kind of acting out there, you know, or just is out there, however you look at it, I always wonder if Heath Ledger had lived.
Oh,
Because I would put him probably in that category.
yes.
It's very
Easily.
possible.
Fulfillment
yeah.
of the same promise. Honest to God.
Exactly,
Right. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and it just, so I thought that was really kind of interesting.
I am. This is one of those weird situations. I remember last year when Glenn Close lost the Oscar,
And I
I
died.
was very worried about you, and you're like, I'm actually okay with it. This is one of those weird things where, although Joaquin Phoenix is my favorite, and I'm more than happy if he wins, I am kind of pulling for Adam Driver because I really enjoyed his work in Marriage Story.
And here's the case of when you have any time people are competing for an award for art.
Right.
It's so different.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
getting they would have to play the same role for you to really judge because it's so different. And Adam Driver, and I don't know if you listened to the show, but I watched the last 30 minutes of that movie. Now I'm on my third time watching it.
okay.
To watch the level that he brings to that performance.
Well, that's when I thought at the time he was going to establish himself as the front runner, because I didn't think they wanted. The Academy's not going to want to give it to another Joker performance, whatever. But at the time, I'm like, he just won the Oscar with that. Obviously not. Obviously, he's not the front runner, but I think he still has a chance.
I do too. And there's a part where we'll go real inside baseball. There's a part where he's singing. Adam Driver is singing a song, and it's a song that theater people just know.
Yeah.
People in theater know "Being Alive." It's one of our go-to songs. We all know that song. We all have some connection to it. And there's a part where as he's singing the song about being alive and being in a relationship, and until you're in a relationship, you're not really alive. And he's going the other way. He's finding out that you can still be alive out of a relationship.
Okay.
And he's being funny and doing the dialogue from the play as he's singing. So he's adding the dialogue, and all of a sudden he says, want something. Want something. And he says it to be funny because he's doing the dialogue, and you hear him hear it. I mean, you watch him hear as he's singing the song about being alive, and the irony of, like, this song is about finding yourself in a couple, and he's losing himself as a couple.
Okay.
And he's singing about the joy of being alive, and the one character tells him, you have to want, if you don't have someone to be alive with, you're not alive. And he hears it, his heart breaks, and he gets over, he just lets it go. And you just watch him in that one little moment, and I'm like, how powerful is, like, what a wonderful actor he is to just pull that off in that one little reading of a line that is somebody else's. He's just quoting a movie or quoting a play. So phenomenal. And then the last one is Jonathan Pryce and the Two Popes, where a nice-looking man from South America turns into an old white guy. It is Oscar bait. It's horrible casting. The Two Popes. Horrible casting of Jonathan Pryce once again playing somebody that's not an old white guy. I don't understand why they keep going to him, but it's a wonderful performance. It's Oscar bait. It's what the Oscars have always been drawn to. Okay. It's flies to honey with that
earlier
shit.
in the year, the buzz was he was going to be the front runner, but I don't think it really came out that way.
And I honestly don't. Oh no, and I give his Oscar and call it a day. That's it. No Oscar. Yeah, it really is. It is Joaquin's Oscar, though. I mean, that is a whole different. That is absolutely a whole different thing. Jonathan Pryce is not going to win, but that's the kind of stuff that always gets nominated. Actor in a supporting role: Tom Hanks, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Anthony Hopkins, The Two Popes. Again, just that's what the Academy likes. It's not going to win. Al Pacino and Joe Pesci for The Irishman. It's an honor to be nominated because Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
This one seems pretty set.
I think we're done, and I think it's category fraud. He's really the co-lead, so I think we're done. And everybody seems ready to the pretty boy curse. The pretty boy, curse has been broken. Matthew McConaughey has an Oscar. Leonardo DiCaprio has an Oscar. All the pretty boys are starting to win their Oscars. It's allowed now. Ben Affleck had to go a different way. Matt Damon had to go a different route. Tom Cruise will never get his.
Hopefully Bradley Cooper will get his.
Right, and Bradley Cooper is nominated for Best Picture once again this year, so he has an astonishing 8 Academy Award nominations. Wow. Actress in a leading role, Cynthia Erivo for Harriet. So it turns out the only way to get nominated for an Oscar as a black woman is to play a slave.
Yes.
It is a lead role. It's been amongst the people nominated all along. It didn't come out of left field.
I haven't heard very good things about it.
Yeah, but she's been in the top 7 the entire time, so she had a shot. Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, of course. Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, kind of a surprise, but she was always in that mix too.
Probably the last one to get in there.
Yeah, Charlize Theron for Bombshell, amazing because you think she's Megyn Kelly, and I think they win Best Makeup for making her into I can't find her. Renee Zellweger for Judy.
Hi, Harry.
It's Judy's Oscar. Yeah. But Lupita Nyong'o not getting nominated for Us, playing 2 different roles, and the physical transformation she did to play 2 different parts in a horror movie. It's a shame that they missed her. Really, their loss. Actress in a supporting role: Kathy Bates, Richard Jewell. Laura Dern for Marriage Story. That show's over. Laura Dern gets her Oscar. The story is hers.
Okay.
I mean, it was supposed to be a 2-person race. And Jennifer Lopez got Tanya Harding. That's a starting line. So now the race is over.
The race is over. Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit did way better than anyone expected, except for me, because I found it delicious and delightful.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Oh, my God. So much fun. But I understand. We've talked about this a bunch of times. If you tell me you're offended by Jojo Rabbit, I'm with you. I get it. Okay. But it's fantastic. Florence Pugh, I think I say her name, who's having this is the cap off to a terrific year. She was in the movie about the wrestlers, the family of wrestlers fighting with my family. And she's in a 3rd movie that I can't remember what it is, but she's had a terrific year of really good performances for Little Women, and Margot Robbie for Bombshell. Jennifer Lopez, I think it's just because she wasn't playing a stripper with a heart of gold. She was playing a stripper who's on top of it and gets her shit done and doesn't take shit from anybody and makes her own money. I think it's I really think the sexism of the Academy has shown its ugly face that you just can't play a woman who's not taking any shit from men.
Okay.
And when it's time to take shit from men, she's got another plan and she's going to shit on the man. And I honestly think that just bothers people. And I don't understand why. Animated feature film, the interesting part about this is that Frozen 2 did not make it in, which doesn't, because that's the one about two women. So again, you're kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with the Academy?
Right.
Something wrong. Cinematography, The Irishman, it's an honor to be nominated. Joker, The Lighthouse, sure. That movie, I couldn't even stay awake. 1917, there's your winner. Roger Deakins,
come on.
17 nominee, finally won an Oscar last year for Blade Runner. Now we can win for a prestige film. That cinematography, jaw fucking dropping.
I can't even.
Stupendous.
I don't even have words.
Yeah, there aren't enough superlatives. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's kind of a what? Costume design, The Irishman. What, dressing people in 1970s clothes is hard? I don't understand that one. Jojo Rabbit, fun. Joker, dressing somebody in 1970s clothes, that's hard? Very strange. Little Women, we get it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, dressing people in 1970s clothes is hard? I don't get some of these. This costume design one is really batshit crazy. Right. But Joker was done by fellow alum from LaSalle Senior High School, where I went to school, who's now a 4-time Academy Award nominee, 2-time winner.
Nice.
And he did the drama club. And I don't know if he was giving handies in the costume room, but
you don't know.
I don't know. Directing, The Irishman, Martin Scorsese. You have to. It's an accomplishment to watch somebody bore me for that long and use that many tricks of filmmaking. It's a lot of tricks. It's a pretty movie that I wanted to kill myself
like
before
the
it
nomination is for the hard work he put in, not necessarily for the artistry.
Yeah.
You know,
because
so it's like, fine, okay.
I mean,
Martin
Doug yelled
Scorsese.
at me for an hour for saying it was too long and boring. So feel free to. Oh my god, that last hour.
My God. Yes.
Joker, Todd Phillips. This is a comedy director that gets a directing nomination for Joker, well deserved, because this is a ballsy move. To make a movie about society and its ills and call it a comic book movie. It's astounding. That's a good nomination. 1917 for Sam Mendes. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Quentin Tarantino. And Parasite! Cat's not here to celebrate.
So, here's my dilemma. I recognize that 1917 is by far the greatest achievement this year. But I still kind of want Parasite to win.
And this is where I'm torn. This is the category where, like, and it's a curse, because whenever there's, like, anybody but him, that's the one that's going to fucking win. Yes, Annette, I Lost My Body for Best Animation. And that's the one where I thought that Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek wrote the song that was almost nominated, but it turns out there's another Dan Levy that writes songs.
Oh, okay.
So I was so excited. I'm like, I didn't know he wrote songs.
Nice.
To Dan Levy. So there's a Roman numeral 2 by that Dan Levy. I am very torn. This is my favorite category this year for director, and I'm afraid that Martin Scorsese is the one that shouldn't win, and he's going to win. It would be a shame. Quentin Tarantino does not have an Oscar for directing.
How does Sam Mendes not win that category, though?
I don't understand, but I think Bong Joon-ho, that's that movie, Parasite. Kat and I have talked about it. The best time in the movie theater all year.
It really
Entertained.
It was.
Okay.
Phenomenal. Film editing, and you really don't win an Oscar for Best Picture if you weren't nominated for editing.
Yeah.
Ford v. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit shows up here,
That was
and you're
fun.
like, what the fuck? That means that everybody took Jojo Rabbit seriously. Joker, Parasite shows up here. What's not there? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
So,
I think this is an exception you have to make for 1917 because there's hardly any editing.
Edits.
There's those few cuts.
And the last time that a movie didn't get an editing nomination for when they had a Best Picture win was for the last time they tried to do an all one shot movie. And Birdman was all done in one long shot. There were no edits. But the first, and I said this before, her name is Thelma Shoemaker. I said it when we saw the movie. No one wants to criticize her because she is a legend in editing and one of the few really, I think she's the only well-known female editor. Okay. And she works with Scorsese.
Well, she's got to be like 90 now.
She is. But honest to God, the only thing you thought with The Irishman was like, there was an editor on this shit?
No.
Something was cut?
I know.
It's like 10 years later.
I'm really glad to see Ford
maybe
versus
she should
Ferrari in
win.
that category.
Yeah.
Maybe she should win because can you imagine had she not edited
Right.
it, how long it would be?
I'd still be on my couch.
Yeah. I mean, my
Makeup
God,
and
get the
hairstyling.
pens.
Bombshell gets in. Joker gets in. This is the first year with 5 nominees. Judy gets a nomination for the fact that many times. Is that Judy Garland or is that Renee Zellweger? I lost Renee Zellweger so many times in that movie.
I agree.
And the same with Bombshell for Charlize Theron. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil in 1917 gets in for makeup and hairstyling,
So-
which means that people are liking that because that just showed up in a category where you're like,
Right.
whose makeup or hairstyling were you doing? They were covered in mud.
Now, honestly, this category is one of the most interesting this year because what's missing from the category? The prosthetics.
Right.
Like, that's usually what dominates this category. Oh, they did these prosthetics to make so-and-so look 150 years old.
And that would be Bombshell. They're
but
talking
still,
about the,
that's really just
very subtle
makeup.
prosthetics. Yeah.
So I really enjoy these nominees this year. It's like they're really saying, hey, this makeup was important and
But this
effective.
is not where 1917 should be showing
No,
up. There was no
no.
makeup or hair done.
Not really.
At all. So it's like, they're like,
Well, the interesting thing is, and I don't know about this, but this has got to be a record for number of films with double-digit nominations. Four. And when you know about the nomination process, it's not everyone votes for every category.
You vote in your own.
So
yeah.
all these different branches had the same ideas about these films, which is really incredible.
That tells you that these are your 4
Once
top
Upon
movies.
a Time in Hollywood, 1917, The Irishman, and what's the fourth I'm forgetting? The other one that got double digit. Joker. They all had the same ideas that these were the best, and we're going to nominate them in our categories that we're
And
voting
they
for.
all
It's
just
so
reinforced
fascinating.
each other. Yeah.
And you end up with 1917 in the makeup category.
Yeah. I mean, costumes, sure, they're all dressed up like soldiers, but makeup, you're just dirty. You know what? I'm just going to splash some mud on you. How's that? You look good. Go to the prom. Music, original score, Joker, Hildur Gudendauer. I've been working on that.
Good for you.
Phenomenal score. Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Star Wars, The Rise of
Again.
Skywalker. You know who's not in here, though? Us. If you can make it through the last 15 minutes of Us and not be like, can that man playing those instruments leave me alone? Because I'm terrified. There is nothing really scary happening in the last 15 minutes of Us. You are just lost in the denouement, if you will, of the movie. You are no longer, the climax has happened. All you are is finding out information for the last 15 minutes of that movie. And that music just keeps you like, nope,
Kind of
we're
on
not
the
done
edge,
with
is
you
he?
yet.
Okay.
We're still poking. And you're kind of like, why am I still tense? I think I think the movie's ending, but you're like, and then you just get a little tiny smile out of a couple characters. You're like, oh, it's evil. Original song, I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story. I'm Gonna Love Me Again, Elton John and company. I'm Standing With You. Did we talk about that last week, that Golden Globes? Elton John and Bernie Taupin have never won a major industry award. They've never won a Grammy.
Yep.
I don't know how you argue with that as a human being to not give him the Oscar and just shut the shit
Well,
down.
Elton John and Tim Rice won.
Right, but not the main. You know Elton John because of Bernie Taupin. So the fact that these
Okay.
two have no award together.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah. You see those two names in the ballot, you're like, we're fucking
You
done.
should.
Right.
Look who's here. Was that my place to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Ladies and gentlemen, Kat Carlson has entered
protocol.
the building and will be assuming. Kat, it's all set for you right there.
Give me your glass, honey. This is
Oh, my
spectacular.
salad.
So the Diane Warren though is one of these nominees for best song. She takes care of the song
Warren.
from Breakthrough.
I don't even know what the song is, but it's probably
But Diane Warren
annoying.
has been nominated. I think she's at her 20th nomination. Is still never won.
Really?
And
Oh,
a-
there's bugles.
Yeah.
Good.
A little trivia about filling out your Oscar ballot. When it comes to best song, all they tell you is the name of the song and the movie it comes from. They do not include.
She hasn't won?
She's never won. And they said if they had
that's
known she
surprising.
co-wrote the song with Lady Gaga, that she probably would have won, but because, and that's why Roger Deakins never won an Oscar, is because they only say cinematography and the movie. They don't tell you who the cinematographer is, so you don't know that Roger Deakins should have 30 Oscars and he has one. But anyways, Cynthia Erivo, she sings All Your Songs Better Than You Do.
That's the name of her upcoming Broadway album.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Cynthia Erivo sings your shit better than you.
I wanted to believe you
I know.
because I would buy that.
I've started the campaign to make it happen.
So she's now on course to be the youngest EGOT winner ever.
She is.
This
Atta
is
girl.
the last branch of her EGOT, and it is the 3rd year in a row that we've had an acting and a best song nomination go hand in hand. So we went Mary J. Blige, Lady Gaga, and now we have Cynthia Erivo. So kind of an interesting thing that act and write a song for your movie helps to play a slave. And then we have Best Picture. Yeah, a little bit. Ford v Ferrari to me, what I thought was a very surprising nomination. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I was sick for a big part of December and just stayed at home and watched stuff that I could fall asleep through. The Irishman, we've already talked about it. Buddy agrees with me. He's not going to argue with me like Doug did. Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit, delightful, delightful, delightful. Do not miss it. Joker, Little Women, which, despite not winning things or being nominated, has had fantastic box office. And the members of the Academy may have actually gone to the movies and seen a movie.
Exactly.
Because Little Women showed up really strong after failing in all the precursors. Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite, which pulls off 6 nominations for a movie in Korean.
I love that Parasite's on there.
That's everywhere.
I mean, I am, of all these snubs, that one in supporting actor hurts me the most, I think.
The only thing I'll give them in defense is that movie was such a true ensemble that, like, it's the opposite of The Big Chill. How did you pick out Glenn Close for crying in the shower in such a beautiful ensemble? But I don't know how you pick one person to honor.
In general, the supporting actor category, it's like the average age is probably like 68 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, couldn't we nominate Shia LaBeouf or Song King Ho from Parasite or something?
There a little bit of excitement there.
I made you bigger in the center square, Cat. I made you bigger. Sorry.
So this and that now, and like we had the surprise earlier in the other category for makeup. Production design, Parasite gets in for the gorgeousness of that house.
Yeah.
So here's where Parasite is like, what you doing in this category?
Hi, kids. So there's a little room over here.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna make room for Parasite.
They're parasiting their way into the awards.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you had
I
a
love
scene
it.
in a basement, 2 basements, 2 basements, and 1 beautiful
There's
home.
the basement, and then there's the basement.
The basement.
So completely surprising. If you know anything about production design, that like Parasite made it in. I mean, it just means that people are liking these movies. We'll just talk about the horribleness of the sound editing and sound mixing of Cats, and then we'll move on to any surprises down here. Parasite gets a nomination for original screenplay too. So Parasite didn't get acting, but it is in the top 5, and then production design. You're like, huh?
Interesting.
So terrific nominations, terrific movies. There's lots to see, lots to recommend. If you have questions, email me directly.
You didn't talk about documentary feature, but I haven't seen any of them, but I understand the favorite was the Apollo film.
Yes.
And totally shut out. Like I was.
And I
really
had heard
surprised.
that, and I had seen and liked The Cave.
So that was kind of the one that snuck in, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't predicted to get a nomination.
That was the only one I was expecting. This is the only one I saw. Yeah. So,
I mean, I saw several documentaries this year, but they were like the Linda Ronstadt documentary, the Mr. Rogers documentary.
I think Mr. Rogers was last year, though.
No, it was this summer.
Oh, was it this summer? And CNN has a horrible track record of getting their documentaries nominated because Blackfish didn't get in, so you know you're in trouble.
That's true.
Let me think. 80s movies on this thing of like shitting on female lead movies. So I watched Jagged Edge because I hadn't seen Jagged Edge in like 30 years to find out if my love for Glenn Close is true.
That's a good test, Jagged Edge, to see. Yeah.
Turns out it's written by the guy that made Basic Instinct.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did not remember that.
Okay.
Terrific performances throughout, and I watched Against All Odds a couple days ago, so I got Ladywood for Jeff Bridges like nobody's business.
Oh, my.
Jeff Bridges is unbelievably gorgeous. How did I forget that? Because he turned into the dude or whatever he was. He got sloppy. Oh, he's always tan, and he always takes his shirt off, and I'm always like, oh.
Wow.
But for no apparent reason, our heroine, with nothing besides a
female
literal
hero, not needle in the arm.
Right.
The danger of homonyms.
Yeah, the danger of homonyms. I just want to tell you, for no exposition, setup, character development, There is no reason. She literally says, "Hi. Oh, I think we met at a dinner," and she's in bed with him.
You've done that.
I was saying
Yes.
that's just good planning. That's efficiency.
Right. She's
But-
just getting shit done.
That's exactly that's
shit
getting shit done.
Honest to
That's
Christ.
great customer service, honestly.
The minute she suspects
she
him of being a
was
bad
polite.
guy,
She
she
was
calls it
polite.
off and she doesn't sleep with him again. But there was no.
Hi, we met at a party. Let's do it. Oh, you're a bad guy.
No.
No
There
more.
is, but it's her client, so there should be some kind of like professional distance, because she's been going
Right.
on and on about her ethics. She is in bed with him after a horseback ride. I mean, I know they tickled your hymen. It all feels
Listen,
good.
that horseback ride changes everything.
It clearly gets you in the mood. But I will also say, in her defense, Jeff Bridges
Rubs
looks
all
so
the right
good.
parts.
The first time Jeff Bridges looks at me like I want to take my clothes off and get humpy with you. Oh, I'm doing it. Yeah, we're stable, ditch. Where do you want to go?
Sure.
Siri, set a reminder. Don't watch this movie with Al.
Oh, it's Against All Odds.
Oh.
Buddy, come back! Against All Odds. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's porn. And it's made from Taylor Hackford, who makes better female movies. He made An Officer and a Gentleman. He's made a couple movies. He's married to Helen Mirren. Turns out, Against All Odds, she pretty. Don't get
Right,
me wrong.
sure.
She gets top billing over James Woods and Jeff Bridges, who are way bigger stars than her. She's got one good, solid TV movie under her belt, The Thornbirds miniseries.
Oh, sure.
She gets top billing, and you know who gets naked in that movie? If your guess is the lady, you're wrong.
I'm gonna
It's
say Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
He keeps taking his pants off. He takes his shirt off. He does a fight scene in some kind of an open blouse.
Well, the
He
song
takes
is
a
"Take a Look at Me
shower.
Now."
And I did.
Oh, Siri, take a note.
Don't watch any of these movies.
Don't watch any Jeff Bridges movies without
Okay.
Perkins.
So,
This feels inappropriate.
Without a divider,
Send.
at least sometime. Another
so
room.
I just want
Some
to
sort
tell
of
you.
thing.
partition.
Yes.
If you
A different
find
house.
if you find the male of the species in any way attractive, however unseemly,
I don't.
oh my god! Against all, I was not prepared. I had to hide all the lotion for like 2 days.
Take a
Have you
look
heard at all about Against All Odds?
Have I what?
Watch Against All Odds.
I've seen it.
Do you remember it being
years
Jeff Bridges'
ago,
boy
years
porn?
ago. Oh, Jeff Bridges for sure.
But he's always naked. The girl doesn't take her clothes off. There's nothing that
That's the
annoys me
80s,
more.
man.
We'll just wrap up entertainment with this. I cannot watch one more goddamn motherfucking movie where a woman takes a shower as part of the plot. It's not part of the plot. I figured she bathed. She looked clean.
Yeah,
I
but
do
it's
not,
entertaining.
I don't need to see her cry in the shower.
Fuck off,
5,
Sylvia.
6, 7, 8.
I don't need to see her do anything in the shower.
Take a look at me now.
Oh, God. Don't let him start singing.
Who's singing? Al singing?
If
Come on, bring it on.
if there's an empty space next to Jeff Bridges, I'm going.
Have you seen
I look
Jeff
better
lately?
in the 80s. I know. I look better in the 80s. He looked better in the 80s. We'll just close our eyes and pretend we were both back in the 80s. Because I looked like her.
Oh, you look. Oh, that's right. You did.
I did.
I've seen pictures.
No, my college ID, I always said I looked like one of the girls from the Human League.
Well-
And then I caught a promotional picture for Against All Odds. I'm like, oh my God. The woman that cut my hair was looking at Rachel York. And I'm not mad.
Were you in a band at some point though?
Oh, Mama got the vapors thinking about Jeff Bridges in
My
the 80s.
God. Well, even Harrison.
Holy
Hi, Harrison,
fuck.
in the chat room.
I like that she saw immediately after taking the SATs. Because if I had seen that before the SATs, I'd be flipping burgers at 50. Let me tell you. Honorable profession, noble professions all.
Right.
Now, there's no male
Right, I
frontal
love a
nudity.
burger, so
it's
what's wrong
not
with a
that
burger
kind of
flipping?
1980s. But, his butt was divoon. Oh.
Wow.
I'm
No,
half
wait,
a-
no,
I have a bottle into...
that got to you on a movie from yesteryear on that fantastic TV that you own. It came through in beautiful living color and
all the colors.
All right.
Oh,
All
we
the
painted
colors of
with
the
all
wind.
the colors of the wind. Vanessa Williams was
Is
singing
there
to me
more of
about my
this?
love.
Is there more of this somewhere?
Uh-huh, yep.
Oh my God! Even that shitty stuff. I don't give a fuck.
It's all good.
It's all good.
I mean, this is really good. So I will make this as we start the new year, as you're starting your wine shopping off.
Yeah.
Louis Bouillot, who we've talked about for years. It's been my go-to.
Gesundheit.
Yes,
Exactly.
it has been my champagne of choice for many, many years now. It's actually a Cremant. It's not truly champagne, but it's from
Not
France.
a croissant, Clayton.
Sure.
It's a
Cremant.
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 I like that you think I know the difference.
Speaking of croissants, who brought the...
Jump into anything you
Those
like.
are lovely.
Please have one.
It's
I
a
didn't
vintage
just have like a big bowl of like free pasta and dessert.
Yeah,
but I
what
would
did you
eat
guys
some of
have
those
for
too.
vintage.
We went to Fez.
This
You're
is
hugging
fucking
it.
shit. Oh,
Or nobody's
Predictable.
open.
I'm
That's still
pretending it's
acceptable.
Jeff Bridges.
I
Are
was
you not
just-
paying
I
attention?
was just gonna say that. Yes, you now.
Mama die. Get yourself a candle and watch you some.
Take a look at me.
I
Yeah.
mean, last picture show.
Even in black and white, he was.
That's what. See, you don't need colors to enjoy
Well, no,
Jeff
what I was
Bridges.
what I was
Any of this.
envisioning is I don't know what that movie looks like anymore. Like I haven't seen it for years. But that the TV that you have, you can find every fucking flaw in everything. with older video. And
Here's
I
how I'm
didn't
going to
know-
sell it to you.
Okay, good.
Look how good I am.
Okay.
First, car chase down Sunset Boulevard because when the test screeners thought the movie was a little too chatty. So there's an actual car chase down Sunset Boulevard. No, it's all practical. There are some stunt drivers for parts, but the cutaways are not green screened. That is actually Jeff Bridges and James Woods
In a
in the
car.
cars. They only have permission to go one way for the race because it's a day in Hollywood.
Okay.
So the oncoming traffic is not aware that they're in a movie, and sometimes they pass and almost kill them.
Oh, that's
For
exciting.
the wide shots, and then they go to the Getty, where the Getty Museum is now. There's
There's a whole roll of paper towels. I could do that for him.
They film on the hilltop of the Getty Museum as they were breaking ground because they're pretending that it's about real estate in Los Angeles. So they're standing on the hilltop of where the Getty Museum is now. Because I was like, that looks like a familiar view. Like I feel like I know this hilltop. And then they're like, yeah, that's where the Getty Museum is. And I'm like, holy shit! And then they go down to the ruins in Mexico, and I can't think of where it is. They go down to the ruins. They are the first movie to ever film there. It's a fucking travelogue movie.
Oh.
But you get this car chase. You get your love of like all things past to actually stand on the
feel very attacked.
No, not like that.
He just called you old.
You like stories. You like stories of yesteryear,
I
or what
do.
used to be here.
That's why I
To
like
actually,
you.
Thank you. See, but to actually have a record of what it was like to be where the Getty Museum is, and to stand there when it was just dirt and overlook Los Angeles is just kind of amazing. And like the movie is not done on any sets; it's all done in and around LA. So if you know what LA looks like now, to see when they go by the Capitol Records building that freeway is missing, like it's just fun if you know LA to watch this movie. No sets; it's all filmed in
On
real
location.
on locations. And you just forget about
Like
that
films
movie. And
used to be.
afterwards, we'll talk about Country with Jessica Lange because that movie holds up like a motherfucker.
Oh. Not to get me started on Jessica Lange. She's my Glenn Close for you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And cheers to that, darling, because that's a good choice. So there we go. Entertainment.
All right, that's in a bag.
Great job.
All right.
Oh, yes, we should be allowed to see some dicks in that.
Let's go with this, shall we?
And now, thoughtful vulgarity, where we in the studio try to make ourselves slightly less shallow, which is not hard to do. We will ask one question of the panel while fucked up drunk. Because you know at home how well it goes when important questions come up several hours after alcohol has been served. Politics, religion, why not? What could possibly go wrong? Who could you offend? Good luck.
Mostly because Darlene.
Our final segment of tonight's show. And as we get into this segment, I have a few things to say to you all.
Buddy's fired.
No payment. No payment.
Already he didn't get my rider in time, and I had to bring my own alcohol.
If you've listened to the entire show tonight, you realize that the headline segment of tonight's show, all the stories were about endings or closures or something that was finishing up. Something that comes with a beginning also typically comes with an ending, and tonight is ours. Tonight is our last live show. However, we will live, as everybody else seems to do, on YouTube in videos. All the videos that are in existence will remain there. All of these shows that are posted for on demand to listen to whenever you want to will also be there. For about the next month, the 24/7 repeat of the previous 3 shows, that's going to stay there as well. Kat did have to be away tonight for the first part of the show because she had a prior engagement, but Buddy being here is completely perfect, and it permits the original cast that started this show back in 2012, April of 2012, It permits us to all be together again. This started in my living room as a meeting where Marnie wrote everything down.
I still
Marnie wrote it all down on a legal pad, I believe.
I think there were notes where like it said pterodactyl. It was like,
glitter and
write
gin.
that down.
Glitter
Marnie.
and gin.
This show
Bathtub
is
glitter.
Bathtub glitter.
Oh, well, bathtub gin.
Yeah,
There's that
bathtub
too.
gin. That's right.
This is show number 405, and that means that this is the 342nd show that we've done. That's over 1,000 hours of broadcast time. And if you listened nonstop to all of them, it would take you about 43 days. I ask that you do not attempt that.
Or consult a professional before you do.
Exactly. So,
Are we allowed to ask this part?
as we wrap up our final segment here, or as we go into our final segment of tonight's show, Al has a question that he's going to ask, as typically in this segment Al always has done. That is, if you see the drinking of the champagne, and I mean we always eat, but for crying out loud, we always eat. But
And I sneak in champagne wherever I can.
Right, champagne is always brought in and out. But this was a decision that I had kind of come to back in October, and I shared it with the cast in November, and we all agreed. And well, basically because if I'm not here, they don't have a show anyway, so we kind of had to wrap it up. But we've all got other things that we've got to do, and we've got things that are going to go on. And when something stops bringing you the joy that it once did, and it just is not the same, you move on and do something else until you find that joy again. We might come back at some point. You never know. And we might officially make it a cooking show.
We've been threatening for years.
The Missy Al Network lives.
So I'm very happy, though, that Kat was able to make it back from her previous engagement to
You're
wrap
welcome.
this up with
Thank
us. Because you've been with us 6 years? 7 years?
You know, it feels
5?
like 10.
It does. It really does.
We can't go with feels like.
Feels like. Sounds like. Fuck off, Sylvia.
5 or 6. 6 probably.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because I was still at Cash when I started here.
Yeah, because Buddy was
It
with
was
us.
the 14 election. It was the
Right.
started in.
And
14.
those people fucked off at the end of 2014. So. Yeah, long time. Long
Yeah,
time.
Nat, we wanted to keep it a secret and do it at the last minute, but still do your thoughtful vulgarity, because who knows how long. We'll tell the affiliates.
Tell us the thing.
Because you've
Tell
been
us the
sitting for
thing.
2 weeks on that thoughtful vulgarity. I just put
You
Marnie's.
said that to me. And I got it right on the mark. It was second.
Start the clock, Clayton.
And I put Marnie's. That's her name. In case you didn't know.
Final show of the night. He gets the name right, ladies and
8
gentlemen.
years later.
Right.
Marnie's address is in there. My email address is in there.
And we'll all still have our Facebooks. It's not like we're going anywhere.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
we're not going to do this every week. So
it's a whole different thing.
You can
And
still
we
get
just
to
love
us.
you guys to pieces.
Yeah, and thank you all for being out there and listening.
Well, this is the
and-
question.
Oh, go,
Don't
go.
shoot your wad
God.
yet.
Don't skip ahead.
I'm not Jeff Bridges. Calm down.
So, and I'm very happy to announce that the way these rules have worked since the very beginning, I go last.
That's right. And it never was meant
And
for
it's-
me to go first.
and it's
But
counterclockwise.
it's
Yeah.
been funny the whole time.
The precedent has
still
been set.
funny.
been funny the whole time.
So, Marina,
Christ.
what's your favorite? What has been your favorite part about this, or what'd you get out of this?
Well,
Besides
there-
that cupcake.
There are menti things. Menti things. The people in the chat room truly have become friends. No two
Yeah.
ways about it. No two ways about it. And although, like, not necessarily knowing somebody's face, like, if you just were to bump into them, like, I feel like if
I hope you would say, excuse me.
Yeah.
Well,
Rude.
of course I'm not. I'm gonna shove them over. Get out of my way.
Yeah, bitch.
Rude.
But absolutely, that has been just a joy, and I found myself over the 8 years, like wondering like how somebody is when
Yeah.
there's certain weather in India, anything's going on in New Zealand. Thinking
And then,
about
that Tomo
and-
showed up, and
Yep.
I was hoping Amina would
And
clock in,
Meow Cow.
and Meow Cow,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even the Tyler from Tennessee that we
Pissed
managed
off
to
years
piss off.
off, years ago.
Turns out
Right,
Southern
right.
jokes hit a little.
That's right.
Little
Sorry
too close
about
to
that.
home.
Sorry about that, Tyler. Hope
So we
Pigeon
loved you,
Forge is
Tyler.
going
We
well,
still
and-
love you.
and hope teaching is going well. But that has been a joy. But I truly being able to sit around and talk and laugh with you guys has just been phenomenal. If somebody said one thing, it would be listening to Al laugh. Like when he gets on his his little time just done, and he's done, and he just gets tickled by something.
That
Absolutely.
fucking menu.
That right, Guy Fieri's menu.
Guy Fieri's menu.
Serves for.
Squeezed out of a Hawaiian shirt.
and the cat.
Any of those
And
things.
the flying cat.
No. Any of those things. Just you getting tickled by something and laughing that hard. I know for a fact that things that I have lost myself in those moments because of your enjoyment to that.
Well, I think, in fact, you will miss him like crazy.
I will. I'll miss you like crazy.
It makes up for some of the singing.
But get out of my dreams.
Yeah.
Please don't start a singing show. Cooking show, perhaps.
Anyway.
I'm gonna cook while I sing.
Well,
or sing while I cook. Which would.
That would be my thing.
Retaliatory garden lighting.
Yeah.
Cheese and rice. Yes.
For real.
If you want a good laugh, go find that show on our on demand and go back and listen to that. Just scroll to where I tell that story in the headlines, and it is just priceless. That and the when fur is flying episode, which is very, very early on.
And yes, well, and there was the very early on when we were at the 24th Street studio, when you guys were always like, Marty, you're so quiet. I'm sure people are like, oh, I wish that was still happening. But, Marty, you never say anything.
The minute you started doing homework, remember that, buddy? That we were like, who turned her on?
And all of a sudden they're like, Mama Di had to have written for her. I did a thing
Yeah,
about
you did
Madonna.
say that. Yeah.
I wrote some
remember
song
that
of
episode where
Madonna
all of a
songs.
sudden, all of a sudden you were with us.
And Mom has watched and listened and suffered
Everyone.
through all of these shows, all
All of them.
342 shows.
Yep.
I'm not saying she didn't nod off somewhere. I mean, because we have while being in studio.
I fell asleep
but
earlier
she
when
has
Al
been
was
just
talking.
if ever a modern day saint.
a champion and
Yes.
supporter of us and me for,
right.
I mean, my entire life, obviously. But so many people have spent so much time listening to us, and I hope you got something out of it.
And the truly, like the idea of being able to run in, Jenny just seems like somebody that, to be able to just sit down and fucking laugh with, and some of the shit that she...
And bagging up. Just people that I feel like you know.
God, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Kat Carlson.
Well, repeat the question, please.
Yes.
Do you like the show with Clayton?
Who are you and where'd you get here?
If a train leaves Chicago and you leave Ahwatukee,
I was told there would be no math.
The
right,
Irishman,
that's true.
go.
Yeah.
the Irishman.
Long, violent,
Violence.
lovely. I'd watch it again. 4 stars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
4 stars. My favorite thing about the show, is that correct?
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the show is being here. I think that it's a show is at the risk of sounding selfish and sentimental, the show's a side effect for me.
Yeah.
Having a reason to be out of the house and hang out with my friends and bullshit and rant about whatever I need to rant about. The show, I mean, listeners, I'm sorry. You're lovely, but
Yeah.
the show's a side effect for me.
Yeah.
So the end. Thank you. You guys
Well,
are nice.
like you said, the night we were talking about all this in the driveway after whatever show it was in November, and you said, "Well, I'm here just for the social."
The only reason I come is for you dummies, right?
Right.
And when you invite me to dinner, I will show up for that too.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
No.
So, buddy, in the 3 shows that you were on back in 2012,
In Charlie's Angels terms, he lasted longer than Farrah Fawcett.
A lot. And look,
And she's a goddamn icon.
Look
the
at you,
fact
Farrah
that
early.
a lot of people said
He's nipping out
that
the
when
show.
I left, you should have ended the show then. That's what other people said, not me.
By a lot of people,
and
do
I
you
don't
mean
necessarily
you?
agree with them.
He paid a lot of people.
I don't necessarily agree with them, but people are saying.
Did you
people
hire
have
the
said,
Russians to say that?
Earlier we were referencing that sit-down session where we thought we were going to plan out this brilliant show, and it ended up just being a
Train
crazy
Not
train
that.
wreck where Marnie ended up with these notes that made no sense.
None.
But things like that, I mean, that was just so fun. And so this group and the extended group, for example, when on the occasions I've gone to watch the Oscars at Al's or the Tonys here or whatever, and this group and the others that are there's a chemistry that is you can't find in a lot of places. Like, man, just fucking funny, interesting people. It's just so great.
Is that from
That's
this
what they
group?
should. That's what they should have called this show.
What?
He wasn't
Funny,
Funny,
talking-
interesting people.
You know, like
Clayton, who cares?
yeah, Mark Martinez and his what was
Careful now, careful.
Okay, yeah, calm down.
the Capri Sun.
I'm concerned.
Careful.
But no, like
The Capri Sun. Oh my God, I do. Wow.
is Mark
I'm
listening?
leaving.
No,
Austin does. Hi, Mark.
you know, but just like the extent, like I said, we get together at Al's for the Oscars, or we watch the Tonys over here, or whatever it is. Wilkie and Kevin Dassos, you know, and the group that gets together, Aaron. The chemistry and the fun and
And the
people
quick
are
wits.
fucking funny.
Fucking quick wit.
Like the people are just so fucking funny,
Yeah.
right?
Isn't that weird?
And so it's just a great time, whether 2 people are listening or 2,000.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
it
some,
doesn't
and
even
most
matter.
of the time it was 2.
Well,
Yeah.
it's true.
Let's split the
But
difference.
you know what? We give them the same amount of attention.
And we
And by that he
we
means
talked
none.
about
The
that.
same show either way.
We talked about that in the early days. We're like, we don't know if anybody's listening, but we had the best time, and it really
But we
was.
were right. Nobody was even here.
And it's just a great time, great escape. As
Yeah,
you said,
absolutely.
really great to.
Yeah.
For me, I am a shut in these days, and so a night like tonight is a great opportunity for me to get out and just
Every 8
kick
years.
back again. Every 8 years, I'll do this.
So we'll see
But
you in 8
no,
years.
just a great group of people, and I am talking about, like I said, the extended group beyond this table, the people that are in our lives who also come around and just add to the joy on times. It's been it's been fun.
I love that. Jason
Sounds right.
Carlton.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Charlton.
Oh,
yeah.
Jason Carlton, yeah.
Al's twin.
Oh
That's
my
right.
God, the grand
The grand staircase.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yep. That's
Damn it,
fantastic.
Carlton.
Well, sir or
That's
ma'am,
fantastic.
Well, when this started, I may have had an idea of what the hell it was going to be and where it was going to go, and I don't think I achieved any of that. But but it is. It took its own shape and it took its own flight, and it all worked out. What is, and I've said this to people repeatedly over the years when they ask, oh, hey, we should listen to your show or whatever, or who listens to you? And I'm like, it's people on the other side of the world. I'm like, we are a morning show, just like, was it a Nant that just said that her Wednesday mornings are going to be
His.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
his.
thank you. I was like, wait, did I have that wrong?
Wait, was it a Nant that said that the Wednesday mornings are going to be lonely again?
Yep.
You
My
might be
apologies.
thinking of Amina.
Anant and Nero.
Okay,
you know,
so
like,
Yeah.
but
the
most of our
mornings
live
coming up.
listeners are from the other side of the world, and I know based on software that tells me that we get downloaded and listened to and blah 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 by other sources all the time, and that's fantastic. And it's interesting to realize that we had some impact on those people, and they've said it to us in email and in Facebook posts and in the chat room that we have been the only not outreach, that's not the word I want, but the only source of a gay voice of reason or a gay
And honestly, we should be apologizing.
for a lot of things.
We're so sorry.
We're never going to get the Asians back on
Yeah.
board. We're sorry about
Ever.
it.
God, I feel
But
bad.
that they saw some joy in us, and they sought us out, whether it was live or in a rebroadcast, to laugh along with us and hear us talk about whatever bullshit we talked about. Because one of the things that I wanted with this that I think we got, one of the things that I was annoyed by, excuse me for water. My voice has been going to shit for 2 days. One of the things that regular gay podcasts have been that I've always found, they're boring as hell.
And shrieky.
And they just want to talk about boring, quiet, whatever was in the news.
As soon as I said it,
And
I
it's-
knew it.
It's annoyed me. So my goal was, let's just be 4 regular people who happen to be gay. I don't know if you were gay when we started the podcast, buddy, but I think you are now.
He's
I was
a
bi.
big homo. He's a big homo.
I was experimenting.
And no, we never made it. We never made it to the top of any charts or anything, but I think with our dedicated listeners, we were
The
at
charts in my
at
heart.
top of theirs. And one of the things that I've always said about this show that I thought was funny, it's a show that critics call a show.
I think the critics called it still on the air.
Still on the air.
Question mark?
Yeah. Why bother?
I love that we had the first X-rated or whatever it was on iTunes.
Oh, explicit rating.
Explicit rating
No.
on iTunes.
Wait, I don't think we had the first one.
I thought that's what you had said.
Well, we had the first one on
No,
Q
your
Talk.
first
For Q Talk,
episode
sorry,
was explicit
sorry.
rating.
Yeah.
For
The number of
Q-Talk,
F-bombs
that's what it
alone
was.
I
are
think it's
enough.
for
You know, earlier
For
somebody
drinking
referenced
and
the Mary
that.
Tyler Moore Show. Can later we do the Mary Tyler Moore Show? Like the
hug?
big hug?
It's a long, long way to
Do you want to know? I actually
I'm
thought
honestly
of that.
not a hugger.
I thought of that, and I thought of us doing it as a group and hobbling out the door, setting up a phone here to record it. I honestly thought about that.
I thought of how to
That's
do the long,
funny.
long way to Tipperary, and I was like, I don't even know the words to that.
That's funny.
It's a long, long way to Tipperary, and that's it. That's all I know.
Oh, good. Okay, well, that's short.
That was lovely. Thank you for
That's
that.
the whole song?
What a nice rendition.
Well, you know. You missed the part about me having perfect pitch, so it's understandable.
And that's
That's
why
why he
you can't
doesn't
watch
watch
American
them.
Idol.
All I
American
know
Idol.
is it's
Okay.
a little song,
A little dance,
a
little seltzer
down
in
your
your
pants.
pants. There
Yeah.
you go.
That's hilarious.
Mr.
nearly shit my
Perkins,
pants.
So-
since it's really been your show for the most, you've had the most airtime.
Kind of you to notice.
Can I also?
He doesn't talk
Can
much.
I just?
Oh my
May I
God!
just-
That had to be
God.
said.
That had to be said.
Because I also wanted to say the year or two whatever that I was here, I would come in here and I have a lot of experience doing like improv comedy, and I've even done a little stand up, and I've hosted the gigs and whatnot.
You hosted
But
my birthday.
when we started doing this show, episode after episode,
You're like, what the
I
fuck
was
am I
like,
doing here?
I have never seen anybody like Al Perkins. Just you hit go, and for 3 hours he's just funny.
You know what it
and
is?
he doesn't stop.
It's cocaine.
Whatever it is, whatever.
It is not cocaine.
Sudafed
But
now. Used
he's
to be
just
cocaine.
one like he's
It's
just on top of
Sudafed,
it, and I'm
alcohol,
like,
and edibles
this is
in a
not
deli-
this
in a
is not
delicate
planned
combination.
material
Oh, no,
either. He
no.
just goes. And I marveled at that. And
Well,
so
the-
you're right when you said this is really his Al's
The
show.
joke has always been when, like, for example, if we would ever meet before, or most often,
Drummer?
Kat and Al would have
No,
a
I
drink
Oh, the production meeting.
before
Sure.
the show. They were called production meetings. Nothing was getting produced or written. Nothing.
Yeah.
We were producing a little bit of drunkenness.
Pre-gaming is what that was.
Because the joy is, well, I will, okay, this will be my turn. I have to
Oh,
say,
yeah.
Al, it's your show.
honestly, my lifelong dream was to always have a talk show. That has been my lifelong dream since I was a child. I wanted to do the Mike Douglas show. And the one rule that we've always stuck to since that first production meeting of it has to be organic. Like, we can't tell each other what we're going to say. I can't know about the cat in advance. I can't know about the retaliatory garden lighting.
Right, and we've done that.
It's just the honest reactions to the people in the room opening up their things, to the funny stories, to the things that piss us off, to how honest we've all been about struggles we've gone through, and the fact that we're always so honest with each other and try to really keep it to our true selves and not try to dress ourselves up as something, because it's not going to work. You can't dress this shit up. You can't dress this shit up.
And I think we've completely, I really think, like one of my mom said, the show is always like everyone sitting around the table with friends drinking and talking about everything and having a great time. Just like all of our, when I grew up, all of our family gatherings were that way.
Yeah.
It was everybody talking at the same time at high volume while eating and drinking, which is exactly what this is. Yeah, it was.
Point.
It's exactly pretty much what that was.
Yeah, and it just has been so much fun, and all of the things that we've kind of like all grown with and learned with this whole time, like all the people in the alphabet that we learned about and liked a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like
It's a hell of an
finding out
alphabet.
like the experiences of an aunt, and like an aunt, I really did want to keep going just for you. Like I was like, we can just do the show for an aunt, just
No,
to
that's
talk
true.
to him. But it's
Yeah.
it's been such a pleasure, Amina and Anant and Nero and
Jenny.
Tomo and Jenny and
Meow Cow.
Summer and
Drew.
Meow Cal and
The
Drew and
Grand
Tyler from
Staircase.
Tennessee, Joey from Canada, Aaron from California. I mean, I've actually gone and traveled and met
Bridget.
some of
Who
these
was,
people.
who was Tyler from Tennessee?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Pigeon Forge.
And
I think he
Pigeon from
dropped out
Pigeon
shortly
Forge.
after you because he missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were his favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, all the, oh the
Well, what about the
goddamn.
Mesa fire, the fire captain? For
Oh,
Buddy?
that's right. The fire captain from the
yeah,
parade.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, what is his name?
I don't. I have no idea.
No one knows.
Damn.
The terrible show from Pride up in Flagstaff.
Were we
Yeah.
all just gonna?
God, that was a. It was a
Sergeant
live.
Ed Castillo.
Oh my God, Sergeant Ed Castillo.
No, the show in Tucson was a live abortion, is what that was. That was we were gonna go up and pre-record a show. That was
And
a
we
mess.
did. We all
stood there with little.
we did it. We all talked like we all looked like we were basically folks that I work for.
Yeah. So does your hat usually come in foil?
Marta blowed up that commode.
She blowed it up real good. God.
And but the other best part is just having all of you guys to come and sit and talk with and listen to the insanity and entertain the shit out of me for all this time. The person across the thing for me has always been my favorite. The Katie and you two, always in tune with the looks.
I don't know how that happened. It was just happenstance.
2 women, 1 brain.
The way that the seating was.
Because it was the same way with you and I.
Yeah,
Like, we'd
and
look
it's
up and be like,
it's
we
that
don't know what the
chemistry
fuck
of
they're
being
talking
across
about.
from each other that just works a little bit more.
And
You
we
guys,
had-
I think this entire decade of shows is punctuated by Anant's statement.
Yeah.
I kept this show a secret from my friends.
So did everybody
That-
else.
Yeah.
So did everybody else.
Yeah,
That was perfect.
Is it because you were ashamed of us?
I
Because we
did too,
understand.
You know.
But honestly, I mean,
because
the friendship, I'll finish it with this. The friendship with you four and Katie June.
Who's at a doctor's appointment right
Yeah,
now?
exactly.
you know?
Sure.
Right.
We don't know what's wrong with her.
I have a feeling there's a joke there.
There's undoubtedly something wrong with Katie. It has been a pleasure. And the fact that you were always correcting Benedict Cumberbatch and had to come on the show.
had to
just,
come on the show just to correct
just
you.
to do that. But
Because
Mariah,
I would
you're-
drive around and scream.
Scream.
He'd say Bumble Muffin Cucumber.
Right.
And I would be in my car going, Benedict Cumberbatch!
God damn it, how hard is
I don't
that?
even know who he is. Benedict Cumberbatch!
'Cause I Googled him once and I got the name right.
Earlier, before you got here, I was like, you got his, who is it who was in your 1917? And he was talking, I go,
Was it
"And your
Benedict
favorite,"
Cumberbatch?
And you got it right.
Oh
Shut
my
the
God! Have we
front
talked
door.
about 1917 already?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right,
I
good.
don't-
Just
oh.
checking.
Oh.
Just checking.
But I know more about people fucking cars than I ever need to know. People doing horrible things to cats and things in Florida. I think the state of Florida just exhaled knowing we were ending.
We're not right.
Good old Florida man.
We can go back to being the secret penis of America. But thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
just-
To
Please
all of
promise me that once a week you'll text Marnie fucktard. Just,
No, just don't.
I'll promise that. No, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. Because you know, as soon as I find out it annoys someone, then I'm
Oh, you don't like that? You don't like that?
So is it this that you don't like?
I can't imagine why we get along.
Thank you. Just so much fun.
And for anyone that we didn't mention, that just in doing this and kind
There's been a lot of people pass through
been a lot
these
of people,
microphones.
yeah.
I kind of was hoping tonight would be like guest stars popping in, ding dong, and there's like Mr. Green Jeans or Pat McMahon.
I know,
Well,
right?
I thought we would
One,
do.
of,
maybe
one
not.
of them is dead.
Maybe
I
not
thought
Pat
we would
McMahon.
do
Oh,
more
darn, that's
characters.
wonderful.
I thought somehow more characters would come in, but Sylvia made it.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Fuck off,
Fuck
Sylvia.
off, Sylvia.
And I
Sylvia,
love it. Mama Die.
her
You
nobody
are
called
always
today.
welcome at my table
And that's why,
anytime.
like
I
in the
love
past, for those of you who again listen every week, in the past few shows, like in December, when I did a couple of the crime scene footage, when I read them like that was for a reason, because I wanted to get it in again before we wrapped up this pig.
And before we wrap up, can I just give them one thing to live with?
You can do whatever you want.
Mission like crazy!
Good.
Well, that's enough. Say
Yeah.
goodnight, Gracie.
Yeah.
You gotta give the people
Gracie.
what they want.
Yes. Oh, mercy.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's been a fun ride, kids. Thanks for coming along on this little wacky journey.
Yep. Thanks for having us be a part of it.
Thank you for having me here tonight.
And the
This
beautiful
is
part for me is
awesome.
that these people are all still part of my life.
Yeah, look at that. Nobody cried. This is good.
No, we're good.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
good job.
Anant is crying.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Anna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
And
I totally
Cry
thought
if
it
you
would
need
be
to. There's
I'm
no
feeling-
shame in it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little shame in it, but
No, there's no shame.
No
there's
shame.
a little
I
shame.
cried during the Donna Summer concert the other night. There was no shame in crying.
It's different. Crying and musicals are supposed to go together.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, all of our ears
Nobody's
are
crying, but
bleeding.
Bootsy's ears are bleeding.
Sorry,
Well,
Daniel.
as we wrap up tonight's show, we're going to leave you with this parting thought. We will see you some Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Call me.
Is it done? Did
do it? Did I win?
You did it! You're done! You won!
I won!
You won!